Hey, what is up, everybody? Thank you for anybody that's checking out the stream right now. If you're just tuning in, please like the video. Check these guys out, and I got two really special guests today. The first time bringing on multiple guests in one stream, so it should be fun. Should be cool to try something new. I got a special guest, ReelHooperKnowledge. Thanks for joining the show, and the Idea Maker.
Absolutely. Absolute pleasure to be here, man. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, of
It's
course. Thanks.
awesome.
First time having the Idea Maker onto the channel. Thanks again for coming onto the stream, checking the channel out.
Oh, no problem. This is just absolutely it's incredible. Like, I have a loss for words. This is literally my first live stream that I'd ever be on with multiple people. So I'm really honored on getting to be on here.
Yeah, me too. This is it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be a cool new setup. So I'm excited to dive right into Superman with you guys. Guys want to start out talking about the movie first? Our little thoughts about it first. You guys want to do
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
game. Let's
All
see.
right.
Let's go. Idea Maker go first because I mean, it's his first time. Might as well let him go first.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you guys. I gotta say, I went to go see Superman for a friend's birthday, for his birthday weekend, and I went with my mom and him, um, and his girl. And honestly, all I gotta say about this movie is that I saw it in 40x 3D, and it was such an incredible experience. It was breathtaking in 3D. It was breathtaking with all the special effects. It was The message was clear. It was completely there on kindness, and this was the Superman I remembered watching as a kid with Christopher Reeve's version of Superman. And before I went to go see this movie, I saw people that they talked about how they're like this version of Superman, that David Cornswett's version of Superman was almost either the same or on par with Christopher Reeve's version of Superman. And I have to agree with them. It was amazing. I think that James Gunn did an incredible job with the direction of Superman. I think that when he wrote the script for it, he knew what he was doing by creating not only just a balanced Superman story, but I also feel like he balanced out these other heroes with the Justice Gang, or maybe we might know him as the Justice Society later on. Um, he did an incredible job with balancing that with the Kryptonian side of Clark Kent, or Kal-El, with the Kents back at Smallville, with his life at the Daily Planet, and also balancing these brand new characters that we haven't gotten to see in theaters, like in a theatrical movie, and even with the villain side of it too. He did such an incredible job at making it a well-rounded experience that honestly, I had so many different emotions that I can keep going on and on and on about, but it's fair for me to be able to give it to one of you guys on getting to share your thoughts about it too.
Yeah, Real Hooper, you
Awesome.
want to go?
Yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. Yeah. What's it called? I feel like I'm looking at this movie now. I'm like, wow. It's truly such an experience. It's just it's great to see such a Superman on like in just to be loved universally. It seems like people really are loving it. They're really digging the character. They're really enjoying it. And that's what Superman's all about. It's about unity. It's about unity through kindness. That's how I always viewed Superman. And that's why he's the best of humanity, and it brings the best out of people, makes people want to do good because he does good, not out of any incentive, but because it just helps for the betterment of mankind. And I think that's what's so great about this movie. It's not just because it being a solid movie in quality wise, but it's also done a movement. There's a movement behind this movie that isn't, it isn't all about worrying whether or not it's controversial, but whether or not we it's controversial to be kind, right? And I think that's what's so wonderful about this film. I think the cast did fantastic. The score, which I mean, I look back at it and I'm like, I watched it twice, right? So the first time I thought the score was kind of like, I wish that it was something unique, it was something original, but I thought it was pretty solid the second time around. But I still wish we had a more unique score, right? But other than that, I thought it was pretty spectacular. Lex Luthor was fantastic. I think an absolute scene stealer. Um, And yeah, I think also Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen's my hero. All day, every day. You know the vibes. And yeah, that's that's awesome. You know, I think that's my thoughts. What are y'all thoughts? What's your thoughts, film? 1000?
Uh, yeah, so I'm glad you guys really enjoyed the movie. Seems like you guys really uh, took a lot like of really positive messages from it, so that's really cool. I did too. I really do love the fact that this movie's message is basically be kind, be a good person, you know, and like all Superman's values from the comics. I feel like the movie did a good job of like spreading that message. It has a really cool positive message, something I feel like a lot of people could relate to right now. With that all being said, I do really like the movie. I thought it was really good. Um, I just thought it was gonna be great, and for me, it wasn't great. It's like a solid. I gave it like an 87% in my review. I kind of think. Look, I rewatched it too, and I feel like it's a nice like 8.6 out of 10, 86% type of movie. I was going into it thinking it was gonna be like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 movie. And there's just a lot. There's a lot of really great aspects into it. David Cord Sweat, Superman, fantastic. Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor, was fantastic performance wise. I think some of the writing for the villain for Lex could have been a bit better. Maybe we can break that down in a bit. And I just have to say, like, yeah, it was just a really good Superman movie. Um, just some things that kind of hold it back. Too much was kind of going on, overstuffed a bit. But yeah, I left the movie with a smile on my face. It was a really good time, and I think it's a solid start to the DCU.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, would you say that it's Gunn's weakest comic book film that he's made of the recent?
No.
I know his most recent.
Oh yeah, no, it's not my least favorite for sure. I'm not a big fan of Guardians too. I think it's kind of mid.
Oof,
I,
oof,
I think
my
it's kind of
heart,
yeah.
my heart.
I think it's kind of mid. I think Guardians 2 was not it. I didn't feel that movie when it came out, and I've rewatched it a few times, especially before Guardians 3. I was like, nah, this is kind of weak. This is just isn't it. And yeah, I really love Guardians 1, Guardians 3. It's great. The Suicide Squad's pretty good. I have to say, I think this is better than the Suicide Squad. I don't know about you guys.
Okay, that's interesting. What do you think, AI Maker?
I actually really do agree with that. I think that Superman, in my opinion, was definitely better than Suicide Squad. I think that the Suicide Squad, it was something that I think that James Gunn was trying to say that I could still do a superhero movie, or in this case, a supervillain movie, to where it's about like a ragtag band of individuals that come together because of some random circumstance. But I think that Superman was one of the toughest things that I think that he could ever do, because you're focusing on one specific character in general, and a lot of his works, and I'll even include his Marvel movies and shows, including the holiday special for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'll even throw in Peacemaker and
Oh,
Creature
I love,
Commandos.
I love Peacemaker. Oh yeah, I forgot about Creature Commandos. Yeah, that was good too.
And it was funny because I actually finished Creature Commandos before I went to go see Superman, and honestly, I think that all the time that he's been working with superheroes and superhero shows and movies, I think that we've all seen it over and over again that he's known for doing a great job for bringing this group of people together to fight for the common goal. But Superman was more of, you're just throwing yourself and you're throwing this hero into this brand new world that's already settled. And I think for the fact that he already established a world full of metahumans and superheroes and supervillains and all these different things that are going on, and you're focusing on the one character, it's incredible to me to think that he was able to do so with such a great job, to the point that I'm going to say this is easily his best work. And to me, this beats Guardians of the Galaxy. This beats
Ooh.
his works on DC with Creature Commandos, with Peacemaker, and with the Suicide Squad. This was easily his best work, period.
Wow. Um, wow, that's I don't blame people for feeling that. I definitely, if people left with this movie having that be their favorite superhero thing of all time, I think I can see why. There's just a lot of really great stuff in here to love. There's a lot of heart in this movie. A lot of, just great acting. It felt like a real movie as well. Like some superhero movies kind of feel like they're half baked, made with ChatGPT involved, but this felt like a real flesh written script. Like there's meat to the script. There's a real movie here, a real story, something for people to take away from. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
I do. I honestly feel like this was definitely something that you not only could feel it, but you could also be thrown into it and get lost into it. To me, I should have said this on my review, but honestly, I felt like this was like it's like one of those visual novels that you would see, or like at least a novel that somebody wrote for DC or for Marvel or whichever comic book company does other type of like written novels. This was literally felt like a written novel come to life as well as a comic book come to life, because there's a lot of writing on the wall in this one in terms of creativity, in terms of inspiration, and in terms of just trying to like feel what exactly these characters are feeling. And it's like I have this thing sometimes where when I'm watching a movie, especially if it's a superhero movie, sometimes when I'm seeing the action or just like a slow pace thing going on, sometimes I translate the visual into what a sentence would be like. And like at that one point, I don't know if we could be able to discuss about certain scenes here.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So let's like, especially the scene where it comes to when Superman finally confronts Lex Luthor for the first time, and like he just like is there standing there. I'm like thinking of like sentences of, and I could see how probably James Gunn is visualizing the scene of something along the lines of Lex Luthor calls out to him. Without any hesitation, Superman turns around and gives him a stern but non-threatening look of showing I that you're here and I'm here. We could be able to fight things out, or we could be able to talk like civilized men. And I could see the writing on the wall and seeing James Gunn's process in the work after like thinking about Guardians of the Galaxy with Marvel, with the Suicide Squad and all his other works. And it's literally a visually entertaining thing that I think that you can translate it back into making it feel like you're reading a book or you're looking at a comic book. And he mastered it so perfectly for this one that I just cannot stop thinking about how did he do this? Like literally, how did he do this? And that's a question I would love to ask him if I ever get that chance to interview him. Hopefully, pray to God that I do. But
Yeah, James Gunn seems like a really down to earth guy, someone you could definitely talk with, and he'll just be honest, and it's not like some sort of like, I won't say corporate, but like, what's the word? Political, not actually political, but like, like a politician.
Like
You know,
PR,
yeah,
like
PR.
right?
Yeah, like
PR
PR
managed.
type of answers. James Gunn just gives you direct to the point what he's actually thinking. Like I saw an interview where he's like talking about World's Finest, and he's like, Batman and Superman might already have met. I don't know. It's just going on in my mind what the possibilities could be. And I just love James Gunn's honesty, and just it's just like he's just a real guy. He's a real guy, a real storyteller. And yeah, I'm now, because I definitely feel like when watching this movie, it does view like a comic book in a way, like you were saying, Idea Maker. It's like the way he sets up everything visually, it's really impressive, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'd love to add on to that, where it's like where the way how Gunn frames his films, right? His films are larger than life to a degree, right? But the way that he captures the human emotion is like he makes the fantastical feel so out there, but yet it's the humanity that grounds these characters. So that's what I love about his superhero stuff, like in Guardians. Like we shouldn't empathize with the with the raccoon that's also a cyborg, right? But his humanity is there, and it's gripping, right? And I feel that's the same way for like Crypto someone like Lex Luthor, who seems like who wants to avoid all humanity as much as he can because he feels like humanity is weak and they need him to be strong. But I think that's what's awesome about how he frames these characters, right? I don't think that's what most superhero content should be like. It's like they shouldn't try grounding the character and its nature, but try grounding the character in its humanity. And I think that's what Gunn does well. You know, like a wacky character like Peacemaker shouldn't work, right? A guy who views things as peaceful by killing everything isn't peaceful, right? But that's what they do so well in that show. They do such a great job. Spoiler alert for when John Cena was on the when John Cena was in Superman. I'm like, I didn't that caught me off guard the first time. I'm like, oh my
Oh
god,
yeah,
John
yeah.
Cena.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
didn't.
did.
I thought I didn't see him. But like I thought I saw a floating helmet in there. I'm like, oh no, wait, no, never mind. It's just John Cena. I'm like,
Yeah.
here we go.
Oh,
It was
Yeah, I
beautiful,
forgot
man.
he was one of the cameos. Have like two or three
Oh
cameos.
yeah. What
Mhm.
you think about the other cameo with Supergirl?
You want to go first, idea maker?
Sure. Honestly, I had a feeling that she was gonna show up because I thought in my mind they're gonna have to set up Supergirl somehow, and I definitely am grateful for the fact that they did set her up. It was not in the way how I expected, but then again, they're going based off of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic, I believe. And
Mhm.
I don't usually read comic books, just because when I watch comic book movies or superhero movies, I just want to go in with a fresh perspective of not knowing who these characters are until afterwards. Then I'm wanting to see where the inspiration is being drawn from, because I want to get to see how the writers and the directors and the production designers, how they were able to capture it and how they were able to translate it into something for audiences to love, especially for those who don't read comic books. But I feel like there's only certain things besides Superman which got me into wanting to invest in comic books. So seeing Supergirl in there was such a great opportunity on me getting to think, okay, so this is the second appearance theatrical wise that we have a Supergirl, because I know a lot of people don't remember the Supergirl movie from the 80s, because from that one I heard it was a flop, but I've never seen it, and I would love to get to watch it one day. But it's something that it makes you really be thinking more of like, okay, where are we getting these versions of the characters from? And I think that's the great thing about setting up these brand new superhero movies with characters that either you've heard of or you barely heard of or you never even knew about. So that was definitely one that I really, really enjoyed. But if I may say, the one that shocked me the most, in my opinion, spoiler, was Jor-El, and I forgot what his wife's name was, right in the beginning of the movie, and seeing Bradley Cooper in the DCU was insane to me, because I didn't think we were gonna have like Bradley Cooper of all people in DC. But then again, I mean, I think he was one of the producers on Joker. So I kind of was like, okay, maybe he's kind of leaning a little bit more towards that. But definitely something pretty cool.
Yeah, with Bradley Cooper, he does have that connection with uh, James Gunn in Guardians. He was Rocket Raccoon.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess it's pretty cool that Gunn got him over to this. And also what makes it cooler too is like I'm from like the East Coast, like Philly area and stuff, and David Cordsweat, our new Superman, he's from Philly, and then Bradley Cooper is also from Philly. So they got like I think JamesGunn was also doing that connection as well. So I
Let's
thought that was
go.
I thought that was
Philadelphia
really
represent, baby. Let's
Very
yeah,
go.
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That's also I gave it a few points for that too with that Philly connections and stuff. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we do have a comment from Ezra Carr. Yo, sup,
Oh, that's
Ezra.
great.
Oh, hey,
Thank-
Ezra.
Yeah,
Yeah, we opened the Discord. That's great.
thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for everybody that's tuning in right now. We got 4 likes onto the stream. That's
Oh, that's
really,
awesome.
really, really
Nice.
cool. Uh, feel free to message us at any point throughout the stream. We'll answer any questions or just answer your comments or anything. We're all we're an open book here.
Amen
But
to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, to follow up with your Supergirl comment or question, Real Hooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to see. It was cool to see her. I mean, I expected her to be in the movie. I thought it was gonna be in a post-credit scene. It kind of
Mhm.
felt like it. Supergirl should have been in a post-credit scene, because I felt like 2 other post-credit scenes were, they were
Yeah,
okay.
they were just gags, you know. They're not
Yeah,
really
and
post credits.
Right.
yeah, and I heard in an interview with James Gunn that he said the most popular Marvel post credit scenes are his post credit scenes where he makes jokes, like the Stan Lee cameo or the Stan Lee post credit scene in Guardians 2 and the Howard the Duck post credit scene in Guardians 1. So that's why he did it here with Superman, which I agree for Guardians movies, but for a Superman movie, for the first ever DC movie, I feel like you needed a real post credit scene, not some joke or whatever.
Mhm.
But Supergirl was in the end though, which it was cool to see her. Seems like she's very different version character. Well, not different from the comics, but different from what we've seen in live action before. She's very what's the word? Uh
Edgy?
party
Oh, is
party
it edgy?
party
Oh yeah, party girl too.
party
Yeah.
girl, edgy. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like she cursed at him as she was leaving, which was funny. I felt like it was a little extra in some ways
Yeah.
um
Mhm.
with her vibe. Maybe it'll be different in Woman of Tomorrow, but it's a darker version of Supergirl and it's more comic accurate too.
Yeah.
I kind of hate how a lot of adaptations of Supergirl is just a female version of Superman, where it's like a, a, a carbon copy in every way in terms of
Mhm.
personality and stuff.
Mhm.
And it seems like they're really making her distinct from Superman, which I do appreciate.
Oh
And
Mhm.
yeah.
I think Millie Alcock is a perfect casting for Supergirl as well. And I'm excited for Supergirl. I think they got some good people attached to the movie, basing off a really cool comic, exploring grief and tragedy, and which is stuff that more superhero movies should be exploring.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we're in a good place with Supergirl.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think what I mean, I'll add on to your point about the post credit stuff. I feel like the best way to do post credits is like, especially if you're gonna have two, you know, at least balance it out. Like how I think Thunderbolts did it pretty well. You know, they had a gag for a
Yeah,
moment, but then they had an actual thing that set up something. You know, so like an epilogue, sort of. You know, something that leads us in, which I think that's what the Supergirl cameo was. It was just leading us into her movie because
yeah.
she kidnapped because she took crypto, right? So I
So,
mean, like it makes sense, you know. I think that's what Gunn was trying to go for, right? That was
yeah,
the ending. And I like that little bit at the end, you know, like the final moment where Clark was he's just vibing to that song. Um, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. I hope we don't
yeah.
get copyrighted just for me saying that word.
No, I'm sure you're
Basically,
good. Yeah,
basically,
Yeah, I think we're fine.
yeah,
yeah,
but yeah. Oh yeah, I
the vibe.
forgot. Yeah, so Crypto's with Supergirl. So does that mean Crypto's gonna be in the Supergirl movie,
I
or is
think so,
that?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
I
okay.
think they did already establish. I think they did establish that he was going to be in it, but that's another thing that I'm wondering too, because if Crypto is actually Supergirl's dog, I'm wondering if he's gonna have like the same amount of screen time as Supergirl is gonna as Supergirl in this one, like compared to he had in Superman, or if it's gonna be like a bigger role, or if it's gonna be shortened down. That's another thing that we're gonna have to also then see in June of 2026, because I honestly feel like one thing that I could say is that Crypto was easily one of the best characters out of this movie, and to me, he's kind of like the Rocket Raccoon so far of like movie wise. Because I mean, in some ways, I mean, you could also say the same thing with King Shark from the Suicide Squad, because technically he is an anthropomorphic shark.
Hmm.
And I think that James Gunn knows how to write animal characters very, very well, as much as writing human characters very, very well. And he loves to humanize both humans and animals, which I think that it really gives a great standing ovation to how much of open-minded person that he is. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get something like, and hopefully they kind of replicate this with Supergirl, especially the Hulk like scene that we had in Superman here with Crypto and Lex, which honestly in my theater everybody was laughing, they were cheering, and I felt like I was being transported back to 2012 when seeing the Avengers for the first time and seeing when Hulk grabbed Loki and just was like thrashing him around like a rag doll. So it definitely brought a lot of nostalgia for me. So, but yeah, like hopefully Supergirl and Crypto have good dynamic moments too, like how Superman and Crypto had in this one.
Yeah, I feel like Crypto's gonna vibe more with Supergirl. You know, he's like, nah, that's my mom for sure, but I don't mess with that boy. That boy's got it in him. I don't mess with him like that, you know. And I was like, all right, I feel you. And I think I've gotten to read a little bit of the Woman of Tomorrow storyline. So yeah, he is in it, and he plays kind of I want to say a big role, but he plays a very significant role in
Oh,
that movie too.
nice.
So it's gonna be really interesting. Not movie, but the comic. So I wonder
Mhm.
how far they're gonna take it. You know, because it
Yeah,
does get kind of crazy for him.
interesting.
Yeah, I just hope they keep it. I mean, I think Superman had a lot of serious moments, and it had like it was authentic, had a good story. But I think with Supergirl, since they're dealing with more like tragedy and her being the only, like I believe Woman of Tomorrow is like really focused on her being like her family's dead, like she's alone in a lot of ways, and that's why she goes to the red sun planets and gets drunk all the time because it's a way of her feeling numb. I hope even with Crypto being in the movie, keeping like a bit more serious tone compared to Superman, really like keen in on like some of the really deep stuff that hopefully they explore in the movie.
Hmm. It's kind of interesting that you mentioned that because it just started making me think a little bit about Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok. How like after like the whole incident with Hela versus the Valkyries, how she ended up almost resulting in that same thing to basically get drunk and then just using that as a coping mechanism to then feel numb from all of the trauma that she went through. So it's kind of funny on how different comics also inspired other different comic book and superhero movies and bringing it all together. And I hope for this one that if Marvel fans are going to go into Supergirl and seeing if they do show any of this, which I believe that they are, I just hope that they don't go in saying that Marvel did it first and then that DC's just trying to like ride on the coattails of Marvel in all sorts of ways. Just because I think that you could have multiple different superheroes going through the exact same thing, because I feel like that's one of the more common ways of having to deal with any type of trauma or PTSD, unfortunately. And it's such an interesting parallelism that I just had to get out of there right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I get
100%.
you.
Yeah, I think with Valkyrie, um, I feel like the way they handled her in that movie. So if Marvel fans have anything to say with like comparing Valkyrie to Supergirl, I already can tell now that Supergirl is going to be handled with much more, um, like it's going to go deeper into her tragedy, not kind of be surface level. Because I feel like in Thor Ragnarok, it's Taika Waititi. He's not really like that I won't say sophisticated, but he's not going to go into that deep. And I feel like with Supergirl, we might go deeper into her trauma and stuff. If I'm making any sense,
Yeah.
I would be pretty surprised if Marvel fans would do that. That would be pretty annoying because Marvel can't like be they kind of lack heart sometimes, especially recently. I feel like the Supergirl movie is gonna have a lot of heart to it. So hopefully, no one goes into comparing Valkyrie or anything like that, or being annoying or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel you. You know, I feel like it's all about the comparison game is really, it's going to be big this next couple of years, especially when DCU's getting up there, right? And then the MCU's also going to seem like they're going to do a little reboot because of Sweet Secret Wars. So I mean, it's going to be a comparison game for a minute because it's gonna be a whole different thing now. It's because the MCU is kind of at the end of not the end of their reign, but the end of what was their peak momentum. Right now, their momentum is kind of steady. It's been really steady, and I wonder how that'll lead to Fantastic Four and how it'll lead to Spider-Man, right? Because I mean, after Fantastic Four, we don't get another Marvel movie till Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like a year off. I think it's a year off from
It is, yeah, it's
Fantastic
in
Four.
July.
So
Yeah.
yes, we're really gonna be like missing some Marvel movies in the theater. So I think that's DC's perfect time to capitalize on that, with
Yeah,
quality.
the only thing that DC's got going on after well right now, like with after Fantastic Four, I think they just got a few shows. They got the Lantern show and the Peacemaker season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got Creature Commandos season 2, and only thing Marvel's got is Born Again season 2. And then yeah, the Marvel's not really doing much, and neither is DC. We're gonna have like a big gap with like no superhero content except for a few shows here and there.
Yeah, and
Oh
then
yeah.
Marvel will definitely also have like the Eyes of Wakanda animated series, the Wonder Man series, Marvel Zombies, and then who knows when Vision Quest is going to get released as well, and then season 2 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and season 2 of X-Men 97. So I can really see more competition with their shows than their movies, and I mean it's going to be interesting on seeing where things are going to stand, and it's going to be interesting on how from here on out, because I feel like I don't think that you really could be able to have a comparison in the DCU or the DCU in this case. I mean, compared to the MCU, with only just Creature Commandos being what was defined as the show start of the DC universe for James Gunn and Peter Safran's vision. But now that we're getting these other ones, I might as well ask the question: Do you guys think that there is going to be this new debate or this new spark of who is better than the other now that we're getting like a brand new DC universe, kind of like how we had with the DC extended universe with the Snyderverse and the early stages, or at least the newer stages of the Infinity Saga, compared to what we have now with the Multiverse Saga and James Gunn's DC universe?
Do you want to take it first, Real Hooper?
I think I kind of already said. Um, I think what my main point will be is like, yeah, I think the conversation of that will be inevitable. I think right now we're in that stage of, oh, let's appreciate both Fantastic Four and Superman, but you know how people are. They only say that for so long and then they switch up. So it's it's only gonna last forever until people inevitably switch. And I think the most important part is that the studios they don't start trying to do that comparison game with themselves, and then then at the end of the day they'll start shooting themselves in the foot because then they start catching up with one another. There's no point to do that. I feel like competition, healthy wise, helps helps others build themselves up, and they build themselves up through that way. But if they go too far, like how I'd say a good example of going too far and trying to catch up is like the DCEU. The DCEU itself is not foundationally strong, and I think the main reason why they're not foundationally strong is because they took it and they rushed it way too much because they saw how Marvel was doing it, and people kept comparing, oh, the Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like the Suicide Squad. So let's make the Suicide Squad the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that made a terrible movie. So that's why it was just like I think that's why it's important, especially for WB, not to hone in on that comparison game because when they start comparing, then it's gonna start taking away their joy for making their own journey, and then they're gonna start trying to copy the other person's journey, and that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help anyone because then next thing we're gonna have some pretty terrible movies. I pray to God we don't have terrible movies from the DCEU or from the DCU because, or else, man, I'm gonna be so sad. I'm like, James Gunn, you didn't cook. Sadly, the gun wasn't loaded. The gun wasn't loaded. So, yeah. What do you think, Film 1000?
Um, I I don't know. I think DC's starting with their own new universe. I so far everything that James Gunn's saying is is good to me. Like he's doing things that Marvel should be doing. Like they're taking time with their scripts. They're not overusing CGI. They're making every project feel different. We got projects that are going to feel filled with jokes. There's going to be projects that are going to be in the like in between, like Superman, and then there's going to be projects that are going to be really dark and serious, like The Lantern Show, or I guess if you want to count the Batman with Matt Reeves stuff and the Penguin. So we got like a whole different range of show, um, types of quality, types of genres. I'm really excited for what's going on with DC, and Superman was a solid start. They had everything that I was pretty much looking for, and yeah, and then with Marvel right now, I've been pretty down on them, but Thunderbolts did bring me back into the fold. Um, it like kind of what's it called? Reignited my love. I mean, I've always loved Marvel. I'm always gonna love what the first three phases were, but it reignited my excitement for Marvel again. And I actually loved something that Marvel did, and it like hit me in a way like it did when I was younger, and when I saw Endgame, and it had like an actual stuff to their movie. It actually felt like a real movie. So I don't know. It'll be. I think it's gonna be honestly no competition. I think it's just gonna be people hating on superhero movies in general, no matter what, because that's what we get now. Like with this movie, oh my god, the hate with Superman was insane. I don't know about you guys. I thought it was unjustified. It was like it was ridiculous. Like the stuff that people were saying about this movie before it even came out, and they had those negative thoughts going into watching this movie, and they obviously thought it was going to be really bad because with all the like with the suit and Superman feeling too human and being too emotional and all this other bull crap. That's the trend. Like people are just going to hate on something like Superman no matter what. So I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like it's a very toxic space out there, especially with grifters these days, man. I don't want to go into much because that's the whole point. They're rage baiters, right? There are people that rage bait to get attention and they get money out of that. So I mean, like the way how you stop them from doing that is don't give them attention, right? There's so many rage baiters out there, yet there's the top 1% that get like a million subscribers, and the main reason why they get a million subscribers because there's so many people fueled with hate that want to watch them hate on movies, and I'm like, why? But nonetheless, right? I think what like at least these projects, right? Like they're silly, right? At the end of the day, these movies are silly, and that's what's so joyous about them. They're unapologetically, um, that's what their nature is. Their nature is comic booky, unserious, almost too serious to a point where it has to balance it all out, right? And I think that's what's amazing about Superman, where it embraces what its roots are. It doesn't try to shake off and try to add like huge mythology. Like I don't want to diss Man of Steel. I think I actually enjoy Man of Steel, frankly, right? But I do think that what Man of Steel was trying to do that I feel like Superman I think excels better at is it's just establishing the world of metahumans. I think with Man of Steel, it was just trying to establish Superman was the first metahuman, which kind of does contradict the entire the DC universe, that DCEU, because it got so convoluted with different ancient empires. That's so convoluted. I don't want to get into that anymore. But I think that's what's beautiful about Superman because it establishes comic book world, right? And of course, it gets a bit much. I will get that into the flaws of the film, but it embraces this comic booky nature where there's so many different things going on in this world, right? Even at that one scene where Superman was talking to Lois, right? In the background, you literally have a fifth dimensional imp, right? That little thing in the background, and it was kind of hilarious how it was just there, right? Superman didn't. It's not like Superman didn't care, but he was just like, oh, they got it. Those guys always got it, right? And I think that's what's so wonderful about this, right? Like there's superheroes in this world, and they're here, and it's not like we have to wonder, oh, where's Spider-Man at, right? Like, oh no, Spider-Man, what are you doing during the void? I don't know. He's depressed all the time. The dude doesn't do anything because he's so sad. But I think it's what's so wonderful, right? I think that's what's so wonderful about this film because of how unapologetic in nature it is, right? And I hope that we get more of that. I I actually acknowledge what you said about how the DCU with Gunn, it's gonna be different tones,
Yeah,
different jarring projects. Like we go from like a pretty serious, like we're gonna have Guy Gardner in this really funny Superman movie, and then he's gonna go to like a crime genre esque Lantern show, which is pretty
I know.
funny.
I
So
love that. I love that.
yeah.
That's the pot. That's what I'm really excited for. I love how we're gonna have these characters that are just really serious in this one thing, and they're gonna jump into this other thing. It's gonna be
Hmm.
goofy. I love the diversity. That's just what I've been waiting for. That's what
Mhm.
like that's what superhero stuff used to be. It used to be like, genre swapping, genre combining, and
Hmm.
especially if you look in universes like the Arrowverse, where you had Arrow, which was such a serious dark show, and then you had the Flash, which was a lot more light and colorful, and then you had them
Hmm.
crossed over, and it was just cool seeing the two personalities collide, and
Amen.
now, yeah, but with these superhero stuff these days, they all feel kind of the same. They all kind of have the same quippiness. I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys.
No, I 100% agree, and that's why I advocate. I mean, I don't know if y'all agree, but I advocate for Matt Reeves' Batman to be in the DCU. I know it's gonna get a little convoluted, the continuity and all that, but I want that kind of Batman with talking with Superman. Like we get emo Batman, and then we get Superman just confused. He's like, Batman, what are you doing, Batman? I mean, why are you beating up on that guy, man? So it's just like it's cool to see that like charm farm boy Superman talk to just like a really like down on his luck Batman who's always so sad. He's like he has Nirvana in his headphones. Meanwhile, Superman's just playing punk. I'm like, I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's that type of stuff I want to see. I think that's why I loved Peacemaker's cameo because you can just tell like the guy is about to like he might just say some wild stuff on TV. It's just kind of funny though. Like it
Yeah.
fits, but he also in his own world works as his own character. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I think this is wonderful. I think that's why I adore this type of I think that's the beauty of crossover. Crossover is not just crossovering over characters, but a crossovering over perspectives, personalities, like you said, and worlds. I think that's why the most ambitious crossover to me is Infinity War. I don't know if that's like bold, but I think
Mm.
I think Endgame feels too samey with the same amount of like quippiness and the same kind of characters. I think
Mhm.
Infinity War we get Guardians interacting with Iron Man and Spider-Man, we never thought we'd see that, right? But I think it's just unique in its way how every bubble keeps bursting because everyone keeps colliding in this way. Like Rocket Raccoon interacts with Thor, that stuff was like unprecedented, and I think now it's become too common, and I think we just need to kind of restore back that magic of why crossovers are special. What do you guys think?
100%. What about you, idea maker?
I mean, I could understand from that perspective. I think I might be one of the only few people where I could say that I actually really love the multiverse saga in the MCU for what it is because of how each different one is a whole different genre for different shows and different movies, and that you have this diversity amongst them. But I definitely get where you're coming from to where sometimes it feels the exact same thing every single time. And with taking it from what we've seen with Superman, it definitely makes a lot of sense because with even if you're taking like the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker season 1 and you're adding it to the DCU storyline because of how it kind of feels like James Gunn is tying it into everything. I do feel like it really is different amongst its environments. I mean, like Suicide Squad compared to Creature Commandos was like totally like it felt the same, but at the same time it also felt different because there was just something about it that made it like you can't just really place your finger on it until like afterwards, and you have to think about it. And with what James Gunn is ideally doing for the DC universe is that, like you said, like it's different genres, different everything. I mean, we're getting movies and everything. Like one that I'm personally really excited to see is Clayface because of how it's going to be like this body horror type of movie. And I don't love body horror or any type of horror movie in general, but that and Swamp Thing is making me interested on seeing how are they going to navigate that in the DC universe? How are they going to be able to see that in live action? Because we've never really seen Clayface in live action, and we never really had like a true Swamp Thing movie besides the Swamp Thing show that happened a little while back for DC. But it's interesting to see how we're going to get these other different ones, and then who knows, and if we're going to get any other cameos. And even with what James Gunn said recently about Peacemaker season 2 is that that's going to be like the ending of season 2 is going to be what this new DC universe is going to try to strive for, and what they're going to try to do to build up to that momentum. And maybe this is where I think DC has the upper hand and the advantage, because of how this is going to be their Avengers. But if I remember correctly, I think it was said that the DCU's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters side of this story was going to take about like an 8 to 10 year journey. So seeing that it's going to take a lot more time to build up to this momentous event, I think that they actually had their strategy done right, because now at that point, you're taking about 8 to 10 years, possibly for every chapter that you're doing, to build up to like this momentous event. And I'm hoping and pray to God that the last thing, or one of the few last projects of Chapter 1, is a Justice League movie or a show where you really see these characters together. And I mean, you could honestly even argue that even Doomsday that's coming up for the MCU is going to be a big, ambitious crossover too, with having many of our childhood movies coming together. Like you're seeing the Avengers team up with the Thunderbolts, or the new Avengers. Spoilers if you haven't seen Thunderbolts, or even with them teaming up with the Fantastic Four from a different universe, the X-Men from a different universe, and the Wakandans, all fighting against Doom. We're going to be one of the most ambitious crossovers to happen. But at this point, yeah, DC really does have the upper hand, and it is going to be very interesting to see where this is going to go in the future.
Amen.
Yeah, 100%. I would just say to add on to some of the things that you said, with Clayface, specifically, I'm excited for that too. I don't know if you guys know, but there's like a lot of big names attached to Clayface. We got Mike Flanagan. Do you guys know who that is?
I know he's a horror. He's a horror director who did Midnight. What was that one show on Netflix? Midnight.
Yeah, the
something.
Haunted Hill House.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did that. He did Doctor Sleep. Like, we got like real directors and writers. I believe Matt Reeves is also connected to Clayface too. I could be wrong about that.
I think he said it was originally a part of his universe, and then they moved it and like, nah, we're not gonna do that. I'm kind of bummed out by that. I'm like, this kind of works for the Batman universe though, but that's cool. I'm game for it, whatever.
Yeah, I would have been okay. I would have been okay with it being part of that universe, or this, or maybe its own separate thing like Joker. I don't know, but
we need to get rid of Joker. Get rid of that universe, please.
Yeah, imagine Clayface was a sequel to Joker 2.
Oh no!
We built up that Batman universe some more.
Well, I haven't even seen the new Joker one, so I have no idea. So I'm gonna get
everyone's kind of
just don't.
Oh, does it?
In some ways, I do appreciate, not to like go off on a quick. I'll go off on a quick tangent real quick. I was gonna say with Joker 2, just like real quick. I was gonna say I do appreciate how it's different. I do appreciate how it's a musical. I appreciate how it's trying to do something new. But as a sequel to the original Joker, it just it's not it.
Got it.
I don't know about you, Real Hooper.
Yeah, no, I heard bad things. Like one of my friends told me don't even try pirating it. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna pirate it. No way. I'm like, okay. I'm not admitting to crimes, guys. We're alive. I'm just kidding, guys. No. Oh my goodness, the FBI's tracking my they're getting my IP. It's over, man. It's so over. But yeah, I know. It's like I don't think I want to try, because I've seen spoilers for it. I'm like, that is so like I feel like it's just a big like. I mean, I understand what he was going for, but I'm also like, what was the point? I think he just wanted to flip off the studio and just say, yeah, I didn't want to make this movie, so why'd you guys force me to make it, you know? I think that's
Yeah,
all it was.
Mhm.
I think that's all, sadly what it was, and I think Todd Phillips knew that he just didn't. His heart wasn't in it, and I think that's the point. He's like,
100%.
yeah,
Not it.
And I think he tried to do something unique with the musical aspect. He tried to do
yeah,
something that's not really in superhero movies. And again, I do appreciate Joker 2 for at least trying for something new instead of getting the same old traditional superhero thing, but with the quips and everything. But yeah, no, it doesn't land. But yeah, back to what I was saying with
yeah,
Clayface and stuff. Yeah, so the fact that we got like real names attached to Clayface is really exciting, and to Swamp Thing too. James Mangold, he's he is attached to Swamp Thing, right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
believe so.
I think
Yeah.
he's writing and directing it. Yeah,
Awesome. Yes, I love James Mangold. Even though Indiana Jones was a miss, everything else he's done is just flat out bangers. Logan, one of the
Oh yeah, he
best,
did Logan.
oh
one
yeah,
Oh
of
yeah,
like the top 5 superhero movie of all time. He could, if he brings that level of Oscar, like Oscar worthy writing and directing as he did the Logan the Swamp Thing, yo, we're in for something great.
I know, dude. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this DC slate, right? I think he highlights a lot of the creatives, and I think that's what's awesome.
Yeah.
Highlighting the creatives behind the film. I like how in the Thunderbolts teaser, you know how they like had Absolute Cinema as one of their like trailers, like Absolute
Yeah.
Cinema. Oh wow,
Mhm.
Yeah.
looks like 824, right? But
Yeah.
I think that's what's beautiful here because like we see like different like we have different directors coming in here. We have James Mangold. We have Andy Machete. If you guys like him or not, I mean, we'll see how he works out because he seemed like he'll want to do more of a Batman movie than the Flash movie. But he got his Batman movie, and we'll see what happens there. And we got like let me see what other slate he had. There's also Supergirl. Who's directing Supergirl? I know
that's
that they have some pretty good
I
like
forget.
that's
Yeah,
direct-
it was someone pretty good. I'm gonna look it up
that's
real quick.
that's director Craig Gillespie. He did. He was the director for I Tanya and for Cruella
ah,
for Disney.
oh,
Yeah.
very good catch. Good catch.
Yeah, I Tanya was a really good. That's why I was excited for that too. I mean, it's like a real director. It's not like some guy you can plug into a system like they do with Marvel, and it's like, oh, this guy works well with the system. He can just make whatever. Like they
Mhm.
actually get talent for these movies. People with real creative visions,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it really exciting too.
Even with what's the name, Lanterns. Lanterns really intrigues me. I'm really excited for that one.
Me too. True
Same.
Detective. He's saying it's a True Detective. I love True Detective. Like if he's
Yeah,
making a show inspired by that, like yes, let's go. And it's also supposed to set up the bigger DC universe too, which is gonna be pretty intriguing.
yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what? All of this is really interesting. I like the big game directors or the artsy, like the creative directors. And
Yeah,
honestly, this might be a bold thing, but a part of me hopes that Zack Snyder is actually one of the creatives in one of these films. I think that'd be absolutely funny. Like, yeah, you're gonna have like Snyder cultists confused what to do. Like, do I hate him but I love James Gunn, or do I hate James Gunn but love Zack Snyder, or do I just hate everything in the world and blow it up? It's just
Right.
confusing. Dudes
Right.
yeah,
just the tiny brains, man.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's
You know,
ridiculous how people think Zack Snyder and James Gunn hate each other. Like this whole thing it's just ridiculous.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting because there was I don't remember what Zack Snyder movie it was, but I think it was the Dawn of the Dead remake that James Gunn was one of the writers for it, and Zack Snyder was the director for it. And a lot of these Snyder fans from the Snyderverse, they tend to forget that, or they don't even know about that. So this whole entire rage baiting debate on who was better was the Snyderverse or James Gunn's DC vision
Hmm.
on which one was better. Because I mean, I feel like I think that one of these days, I think because that James Gunn is the co-CEO of DC Studios, I think that he is going to bring in Zack Snyder for at least one of the movies that he's wanting to create or wanting to have established, or a specific character to be established in the DC
Hmm.
universe. And it's going to be something that a lot of people are just going to be on the fence about. Are you kidding me? Like, what is this? And then they're gonna go in and they find out, oh, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. So I
Hmm.
think, I think, I think that that's something that I think that Snyder fans kind of need to calm down a little bit about, and that's kind of a little bit of a bold statement, but they kind of just need to settle down a little bit and let both of them respectively do like their creative works, because both are creative in their directing and their writing in their own different fashions. And I think in an industry like Hollywood, there shouldn't really be comparisons between whose different style is better than the others, but instead it should be more of like, this is a collaborative work that people come together to be able to create something that a lot of people will love, and they could take the toxicity out entirely and just go in with a fresh perspective.
I think that's absolutely well said. I think
100%.
I think what Snyder excels. Funny enough, I think giving Snyder like something unknown, like the Authority movie. I always forget that movie's in development, but giving him something like that, where he just doesn't. He is. I mean, it's not like it's fair to do free reign and say, oh, who cares what they say? It's not Superman, right? But I feel like giving him more creative freedom to express himself, because I feel like he actually aligns more with what the Authority is anyway. His mindset and view on superheroes. I think that's what actually would fit better with him. He likes characters or like stories like Watchmen
Yeah, I
or
was
Watch.
gonna
Oh
say.
yeah,
So he
Yeah,
likes
you're
that type of
watching.
stuff anyway. So I feel like giving him that type of story actually fits a lot better than like giving him a Superman movie. And I like Man of Steel again. Don't kill me, guys. Don't dox me, please. But I think he just works better when he doesn't try deconstructing something that's already hasn't been constructed, but deconstructing his or not constructing his own comic book kind of perspective in that way. And I think having Snyder there would be not amazing, but just so funny. It's like that one like have you seen that clip of him and James Gunn in Rick and Morty? Was that
oh
one? Yeah,
yeah.
he was there. He was just him and James Gunn were just talking it out. I'm like, wow, that's kind of funny. They're in animated form.
hmm I mean, I don't watch Rick and Morty, but I have seen the clip, and I'm like thinking to myself, actually, this is pretty cool that you get both James Gunn and Zack Snyder, that they came back to. They actually came to voice their own fictitious versions of themselves in animated form, and that these guys are friends, and that's what it should be like. I mean, in the industry, from what I've seen, and on top of it, from what I see in superhero movies, especially if you're trying to build a connected universe, the one main thing that I think that a lot of people forget to recognize is that all these people are working together in some way or another to build to a common goal, whether if it's a future Avengers movie or a team up movie, or if it's leading to the Justice League or some sort of other bigger momentous occasion. I think that what needs to be established is that somebody got their shot in creating a superhero movie, and regardless on the reception on it, those movies we don't take it for granted, but we should at least take it as a necessary step towards what do people like about these superhero movies, and what can we take from it to create another hit, and what can we be able to change to say that this is our signature move and our signature writing point onto how this is going to be our movie and our entry, and then also be able to give credit and appreciation to those who have done either their version or their own superhero movie or supervillain movie in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I'm looking at it now. I'm like, holy crap! You know, we kind of stepped so far away from Superman. I'm like, oh crap, no. Are we good? Film 1000, my fault, bro.
What? No, this is
We're
great.
good.
I
Awesome.
agree with what you guys are saying. I think Zack Snyder being part of another DC project is great. He does really good when he's collaborating with other people. When it's just him, it can go really hit or miss. And when I say miss, I mean really miss. AKA that
I
some of
Like
those
Rebel Moon by
Rebel
Bomb.
Moon.
was about to say.
Yeah, like ugh. But no, he does really good when he collaborates with other people. Man of Steel, he collaborated with Nolan and Goyer, and they turned out something pretty good. I don't think it's good enough for something to be a whole DC universe of a deconstruction thing like he wanted to do with the DCEU. But
Mhm.
he did something pretty good with Man of Steel. and he also worked with Wonder Woman too. He was actually a big part of the reason why Wonder Woman was good. We see what Patty Jenkins does with Wonder Woman 84, and
Oh yeah.
Wonder Woman 84 is it feels like it was like a hallucinogenic dream or something.
It gave me a headache, man. I remember watching the movie. I got a headache.
It felt like Patty Jenkins like hit some powerful weed while making that movie, because it was bonkers. I don't even know. I mean, I don't want to disrespect Patty Jenkins or anything, and maybe she did really good with the first Wonder Woman movie, but we know it was a collaboration with Zack Snyder as well. And they turned out a pretty good product. So I think it'll be pretty cool to see Zack Snyder team up with a talented writer, or heck, even team up with James Gunn himself. And I think there's something pretty cool there.
Yeah, and I feel like Snyder as a person and as a director isn't like a bad, like, I don't think he's a controversial figure, and like he says some weird stuff, like saying like Superman's like it's a dream world and all that about like Superman, and I'm like, yeah, that stuff's kind of weird. But I feel like other than that, like Snyder seems like a chill dude, but his fan base is just so like so out there, and I'm like, y'all have like no perspective. I'm like, yeah, I think that's why people, like, when they say we hate Zack Snyder, it's mostly just because of his fan base, not really because of Snyder himself, you know?
Yeah, and I totally get it from that perspective. I mean, I'm one of the few in the minority that is going to say I'm one of the few that kind of really didn't enjoy Man of Steel like how, a lot of people did. And personally, I'm not a person who's deep into like the darker tones or the more violent imagery, and it's really not my thing. But I do gotta admit, it was entertaining in some points of it. So I will give Zack Snyder that. His fan base is something else, and I don't mean to be so out there with an opinion like that. But I also do say it in terms of like, you just have to give other people a chance before you even go into saying anything. And for Man of Steel, we had all of these different projects. But speaking about different projects and then tying it into Superman, since both James Gunn and Zack Snyder did Superman, I want to be able to ask the question about these proposed spin-offs that I think that James Gunn was talking about, on him wanting to try to be able to develop spin-off shows of Jimmy Olsen and Mr. Terrific. Now, I really am gonna. I really feel like out of the main three of the Justice, I was gonna say Justice Society, but it's the Justice Gang. I feel like Mr. Terrific would be an excellent spinoff. Like, terrific mostly, but I feel like it would be a great spinoff. I think Jimmy Olsen having a spinoff would be great too. But I feel like the other question is, do you think that these should actually be spin-off shows? And if not, what are characters that you would think that from this iteration of Superman do you think that deserve like either a spin-off movie or a spin-off show? And that's talking about outside of Supergirl.
Yeah, Phil 1000, what do you want to say?
It's a good question. Well, okay, I'll start with Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen. Mr. Terrific was probably besides Superman and Lex Luthor, probably my favorite character from the movie. He was really cool, really badass in the movie.
Yeah,
and I would be down for a spinoff. I would be down for a spinoff. I'm just a little conflicted with just those characters being in the movie in general. When we talk about our positives and pros and cons,
right.
Talk about the Justice Gang being in the movie. He was really cool. I'd be down for a spin-off TV series or a Justice Gang TV series, because I definitely feel like we need more explanation to who they are exactly, why they are heroes, why are they called the Justice Gang and not Society or League. Well, we know why they're not called Justice League, because that's what Superman. But yeah, I think it would be cool to see Mr. Terrific. Jimmy Olsen, hell no.
No.
I love the character in the movie. He was also one of my favorites. He had that swag to him. He got everybody. Like, he was cool. But what are we doing a TV show with Jimmy Olsen? Like, is it gonna be a Marvel thing where it's like quantity over quality type of thing. Like, what would you make an interesting, compelling show with Jimmy Olsen? Like, what's the story there? Him just picking up girls like the whole show, is that
that's really compelling, man. I mean, that's really inspirational,
make
frankly.
it a rom-com, like make a sitcom of him picking up girls and have be a laugh track in there. Maybe you could do something like that. Yeah,
Perfection. You
I
got
think
the script already, man. You just need to get the actor back.
yeah.
Like, hey, you just need to tell him.
Yeah. Yeah. So from Superman movie spin-off wise, I could just see Justice Gang / Mr. Terrific, and maybe even a Lex Luthor, something. Lex Luthor. Maybe we can get something with him because Nicholas Hoult is an incredible actor. If we get a villain-based movie with Lex Luthor, I'd be down for that as well. Just to see more of his complexity, because I was kind of hoping with Superman that he would be a more deep, enriching character instead of just having backstory be I hate Superman and I'm super smart, and it disgusts me when I'm compared to people like what was he upset that he was being compared to? Edison,
Galileo or something.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, like it makes me want to throw up in the back of my throat or something like that because I'm compared to these guys or whatever that monologue was. But
Yeah.
I was because I remember James Gunn saying how much he loved Smallville, and I do see a lot of Smallville inspirations in this version of as inspiration in this version of Superman in terms of his humanity, in terms of performance wise. David Horde Sweat feel like invokes a lot of some of Welling and other versions of Superman, which I really love because Welling's my favorite Superman. But since Gunn is so connected with Smallville and Michael Rosenbaum because they're like best friends, I would, and he's admitted himself that Rosenbaum's the best live action version of Lex Luthor. I thought this Lex Luthor was going to be a bit more complex and layered as to his reason of being a bad guy. Maybe we can get that at some point. But yeah, back to what I was saying, I would love a Lex Luthor spinoff, and maybe we can do something like Smallville did. I know ReelHooperKnowledge. I don't think you said you watched Smallville, but did you watch Smallville, The Idea Maker?
I have not actually, and I will give a shout out to I believe Ezra on here when he gave the comment. I believe he was the one that actually recommended me to do Smallville. I believe he was the one that recommended me to do to react to Smallville. One of my subscribers did, but I would absolutely love to react to Smallville. I know it's a 10-season series, but I've heard of so many great things about Smallville. I was recommended Gotham as well, so I'm more of a Marvel person. But after Superman, I really want to now start seeing about everything about the DC universe, but before the Snyderverse and before the James Gunn universe, and I want to see those projects and seeing what kind of a vision they had that inspired these ones that we have now. So, but yeah, I do know about the whole thing with Michael Rosenbaum and that he was he voiced a character for Superman 2 for this one, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe he voiced, I don't know who he voiced, but I know that he did voice somebody, which was pretty cool that you got those little Easter eggs from there too. But yeah, I haven't seen Smallville.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's one of my I'm a little nostalgic for it, but it has some really great stuff in it. Just in general, it has such a human version of Superman and Michael Rosenbaum. What they do with Lex Luthor in that show, having them start out as best friends, Superman and Lex Luthor. I love that version of the story where they start out as really like childhood friends, and then they grow apart and then they turn into enemies. It's such a really great tragic story, and just Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is so beautifully written and tragic. And I would love for a Lex Luthor show to be something like Smallville, where he has like daddy issues and just just has so much tragedy to him. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I feel like I'd like to add about Lex Luthor, about his complexities, right? And especially with Holt, where I feel like his performance really did carry that the writing of Lex Luthor. I feel like his performance was really captivating, so captivating that you kind of forget about why, like the little like nuance, right? Like where we want to sympathize with this character, we want to sympathize, or at least understand why he's doing the things that he's doing, right? And I think, um, for me at least, I feel like I just grabbed like what for Holt at least he was conveying that almost not not satirical type, but almost like his hate. I mean, you can tell like the dude's a D1 hater. This brother just hates for a living, right? And I
Mhm.
think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what out of his I mean, it's out of context, right? Where we see that this guy just he despises the sight of Superman, the sight of a man who's able to fly, a man who catches people just out of his nature, not out of what his actions have been in terms of accomplishments, right? He just is so pissed off by that. And I think that's what's intriguing about Holt's Luther is like in that simplicity of just being a D1 hater. That dude hates out of obligation. He feels like it's his human duty on this earth to destroy a man is who hasn't heard who hasn't earned that type of privilege to be seen as a god, you know? I think that's what Luther wants. He wants to be seen as a god, a man above humanity, a man who can save humanity but not be touched by it, you know? And I think that's what's interesting with how they do that. I think it's not really in terms of like the complexities, like how you said about Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor, where his you can see his backstory, you see everything back there, right? And I think that's kind of cool and kind of refreshing about Lex Luthor. We just know out the gate the guy just hates Superman because first off, Superman got long, luscious hair. Meanwhile, Lex has none of it, right? So that guy, he just hates him for that. But I mean, second off, Superman evokes this positivity. He evokes his almost childlike wonder for humanity. Meanwhile, Lex has almost been so cynical to it, right? He hates his own humanity. And I think that's what's so wonderful here about that. And I think you're right about how he should get like almost a spin-off show or like something like a spin-off project. I would love to see that, you know? Like I heard some people say like they want to get a Legion of Doom type of movie. That'd be cool,
Okay.
Yeah, that'd
right?
be pretty sick.
That'd be interesting as well, you
Mhm.
know? And I want to bring it back to the spin-offs, right? And I want to for the Jimmy Olsen stuff. I understand like giving Jimmy Olsen a spin-off would be kind of silly, right? But I think it'd be interesting to have him and like the whole the Daily Bugle type like a Daily Bugle type like an office show, you know, where it's just like
Yeah.
you know we get like not wait, did I say Daily Bugle or Daily Planet? Oh no,
You got Bugle.
Daily
Daily
Bugle.
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh no,
Hey, John
Spider-Man,
Jameson
get back
showing up
here.
on the Jimmy Olsen show.
Yeah.
Parker, where's Spider-Man?
Where's Spider-Man? Nah, that boy getting girls. My fault. But you know, I think with the Daily Planet, like a Daily Planet spinoff show actually seems a lot more reasonable to have
Mhm.
Jimmy Olsen explore Jimmy Olsen's side quest, you know, and then we can have Lois Lane just in the background, like she disappears half the time. Like, where did Lois Lane go? Where did Clark go? Well, why are they gone at the same time? They're hooking up. So you know, it's just something like that where
Right.
they just it's really mostly a Jimmy Olsen show, right? But we also
Mhm.
do get other characters like Cat Grant. Who's that other dude's name? Frick, I forgot.
Steve Lombard.
Oh, Steve Lombard,
Uh-huh.
and who's the main editor? The main
Perry
guy?
White.
Perry
Oh,
White.
Perry
Yeah,
White. Yeah,
Yeah.
Perry White. So exploration on those characters too. You know, it's like an office sitcom. I'm down for that, like a workplace sitcom where we experience the DC world, but through like a journalistic type of like almost like absurdist level where it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, Superman just crashed a plane on accident. Okay, so time to move on to this other thing, right? So it's just, you know, there's things in the background of the world that don't really intersect, but we also get to build on this world, you know? Like we get to see
Mhm.
a Batman, we get to see like, oh my goodness, Wonder Woman's actually here or something like that, you know? So
Mhm.
I think that's what I would like to see in out of a spin-off for the Superman movie where we just spin off and build the world of the DCU through the Daily Planet spin-off and we get to build it off like Mr. Terrific would be awesome. I'd love to see Mr. Terrific one. But I like your idea of the Justice Gang getting their own little spin-off. I love to
Mhm.
see that too, where we get explore like like I wish they explored this more, but the corporate superheroes, like
That's
that's
what I,
kind of that's like
yeah.
super interesting, but also like
Yeah.
really like that was like so one note. Like you would just see like it's like the boys. You could explore it like the boys did. You know, like this. You got the mass marketed like superheroes that we all adore, and then we got Superman, who's not really a part of that. He's adored, but he's also like his own little thing, right? So I wish they explored that more, but I feel like I have a really deep feeling that they're gonna explore that in the Peacemaker show a lot better than they did in Superman.
Yeah, I really thought that's what the angle they were going with by having the Justice Gang there. They kind of were just, I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's not like the worst. It wasn't like such a bad inclusion to have them there. It's
Hmm.
just I kind of wanted more focus on Superman. If we were gonna have this Justice Gang in there, it was gonna be to show like, oh, Superman's like the true, real, honest hero, and the Justice Gang. Not that they were like fake heroes or anything, but they were working under Max Lord, and he's kind of corporate, and they had like certain restrictions and stuff. And I thought Superman was going to be looked at as like he's what a hero is. He's what all heroes aspire to be, and we were going to have those heroes in this movie to make Superman look like the true hero, like what everyone, the gold standard, what it should be. And
Yeah.
just kind of there to, what were they there for? Justice Gang, just to help out, to show that there's
Yeah.
heroes in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, they're just there to help out and all that.
Yeah.
Just build out the world essentially. That was their job.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just feel like for our first Superman movie, it probably should have had. I don't know. I don't know if they should have been in it as much as they were. In my opinion, is
Hmm.
like
Mhm.
because more focus on we could have had more focus on Superman and the Daily Planet and Lex
Yeah.
Luthor instead of
Yeah.
having it a bit spread out. That was kind of my biggest problem with the movie with having it too much going on.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I think you're right. Where I think I agree that their inclusions just felt not like I didn't like their inclusions. I love their inclusions, but I think their inclusion should have been more purposeful. You know, more of a saying like, okay, like they're corporate superheroes, right? And then you're comparing that to the superhero, right? So then you're comparing him between the two, and then you kind of don't. They don't really get to that point where it's like, oh, actually, we don't like being corporate superheroes. Let's not do this. Actually, so I think that's what's missing. I don't know. I think this movie should have been longer. I do think the pacing of this film was like for how much they've packed into this film. It feels like Gunn would need his own Snyder cut. Like he would need a director's cut for himself because
Mhm.
I think there's so much packed in there. But I don't think he's gonna have one. So I don't know. I am kind of conflicted on his pacing of this film. But I feel like how people have prescribed it is like how Lego Batman is, right? How Lego Batman has everything in the background. There's so many different things going on at once. Yeah, it's just somehow works. And like things are the wings they are. We kind of
Mhm.
wish you get more exploration, but at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to focus on the main character's story, right? And I think that's the main thing we're to get. And I think that's it's still pretty awesome. Still a pretty awesome film. But there are some aspects you could think about it like I'm just praying to God that they explore that more in other stuff, like the
Mhm.
Peacemaker show, or explore it in Lanterns, something like that. I'm game for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with the whole thing with Peacemaker, and I feel like with how they're setting it up, especially with the teaser trailer that they had for Peacemaker season 2, with Peacemaker getting interviewed by Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Maxwell Lord. I think that something from the interview or whatever, and I'm just gonna give like a random theory as to how I guess like the Justice Gang, they saw the interview on TV and something about that, and they reached out to Peacemaker's team somehow, and one of them was interested, or like Maxwell Lord was interested because of whatever reason, and then they come to the interview and it goes wrong whatsoever. But I honestly feel like with the inclusion of the Justice Gang in Superman and the way that they did it, I think that what they were trying to say, and I might have gotten the interpretation wrong, but I feel like I feel like the message of that there's the one hero that you have, and that there is going to be somebody that's like smarter and faster and or more whatever, and try to have that little competition, because I feel like since this was already at a point to where in the little opening crawl that they had with all the wordings of like what was already established within that amount of time. I think what was going on was that after the whole thing with, well, I think it was Bavaria, I think that was called, that other country that Superman stopped the war and the conflict in. I have a weird feeling that I think that maybe Maxwell Lord was the one that he saw the opportunity and thought, okay, so maybe there's a way I'm being able to get Superman off the map without having to do something so diabolical like how Lex Luthor was doing it. And I believe that his method was going to be, probably having, these different heroes under contract and, under him, and that they were going to be like their like this little kind of like how I would compare it to like Team Iron Man and Captain America Civil War, with them signing these Sokovia Accords and being government affiliated and government regulated, and that they were going to try to make it like the new normal. And with this one, I feel like this was like Maxwell Lord's way of trying to kind of like maybe like, let's start giving the other different heroes a chance, and let's start pushing Superman out of the spotlight, and let's start bringing in these other different ones. So maybe that's what he was trying, what James Gunn was trying to go for. I could be wrong, but I'm hoping that maybe they might establish what exactly his goal was in Peacemaker season 2, because I do feel like it should have been longer. This movie was only 2 hours and 10 minutes long, but I think I really would have wanted it to be like a 2.5 hour epic, because if the original 1978 classic was almost close to 2.5 hours, I think that this should have been at around the same exact mark.
Oh yeah. Oh, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think, Film 1000?
No, yeah, 100%. I think it definitely. I didn't even realize it was 2 hours and 10 minutes. I thought it was like closer to 2.5. But most superhero movies are kind of like 2.5 hours. An extra 20 minutes definitely could have helped. Could have maybe done something more with Justice Gang. Could have done something more with Superman himself. Maybe we could have had some more time with Superman on the farm. That was also something kind of disappointed me, was how quick that was. I mean, I love the scene between him and his dad. Maybe like Lois could have stayed on the farm. I thought that's where that was going with them. It was like the movie's going to like not pause, but just settle down a bit and like take some time to breathe, get to know Superman and his parents, and have Lois explore the Kent farm, maybe talk with his parents a bit.
Right.
Did she even talk with them? I forget. I don't think she really even talked to the Kents. She just left, didn't she?
I think she talked to them for like a bit, and then she's like, okay, we gotta talk to Jimmy, and then she dipped.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, she could have been there.
That would have been oh, sorry, what were we gonna say?
No, you're right. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, that would have been a great moment for. We could have explored what this Superman was like with Lois. We could have been like with her on that, like as the audience, we're like following her as she's learning. Like she goes in his room or something. We had this scene where she's like looking at more of these photos, and then his mom like goes up to her. Maybe they have a conversation of what this Superman's really like. Like something more. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I think that they could have been able to add more to it. I think that, in my opinion, I think that the interaction between, Lois and the Kents could have been more, because she barely interacted with Pa Kent. She more interacted with Ma Kent for a little bit, but I think that they could have fleshed it out a little bit more, especially because if Ma and Pa Kent already knew about like Clark already dating, and then if they already kind of knew about that he was dating Lois at the time, I would have at least thought that they would have at least known something a little bit more, because it felt a little weird that Pa Kent kind of like didn't really remember Lois's name, like if this was the first time that they got introduced to her. So I was like a little bit on the fence of like, did they already have like established that they were that Clark and Lois were already dating, or what's kind of going on? And it made me a little upset at the fact that they kind of underwhelmed the Kents a little bit, because I've known that in other versions, like, you know, Pa Kent dies and
Mhm.
and Martha Kent's the only one that's around. And I love it when different versions of Superman, they have both Ma and Pa Kent, especially because like in My Adventures of Superman, both Ma and Pa Kent are alive. And in this one, same thing here. But I really wish that they would have had more for them in here. Like it would have been really, really nice to do so. And I really love the montage at the end where he's like seeing all the different memories and events that's happened in his childhood on Earth, and it kind of really makes me also kind of want like maybe like a special or a mini series, like a limited mini series of like Clark growing up as a kid. It's not much like an origin story, but just more of like what it was like for him, just to kind of like know that he was different. I mean, I know they kind of already did that with Superman from 1978, but I wish that they kind of even had that as flashbacks a little bit for Superman instead of just kind of being a little bit thrusted into the environment that we did with just
Mhm.
with the wordings.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think that's also. I mean, I don't want to keep honing on to this film's flaws, right? Because there's a lot of great things about this film. But
Right.
since we're on the topic, right, I feel like one of the things that's kind of the weakest point about this film is it's almost. People say that the script of the film. I would kind of agree because it is mostly like show. It's they're mostly telling us, not showing us. You know, the definition of telling us, not showing us, was that opening bit. You know, where they said three decades or 3 hours ago, 3 minutes ago. I mean, that's a cool idea, but you could have shown us that at least, you know, like at least show us like Superman actually be dominant in a fight, you know, because I feel like they kept saying like Superman has never gotten beaten before. I'm like, can you show me that at least? Because I mean, like people
Mhm.
always say that Superman is the most powerful character in the world. I'm like, I get that, but you guys always say that, but I never feel that. Like I always feel like he always get his butt kicked every time I see him, and I get why he got his butt kicked in this case because he was depowered a little bit. He wasn't in his full strength most of them film, right? But I feel like they kept saying like, "Oh, he's so powerful," and I mean, I see him protecting people with his strength, which is awesome. But I want to see him also defeating foes with ease, you know? Because I feel like we're always seeing him getting beat, and I get why he's getting beat with Lex Luthor and his whole little scheme, right? But with other characters like an imp, like a fifth dimensional imp, like that kind of stuff, like that'd be cool to see him just take that out with ease, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that's what's also a big thing with this film was just they showed us all. They kept telling us like, okay, so this is what Lex Luthor's gonna do, and he's gonna do this and that, right? But like we never really see like, I mean I see Lex like conspiring with Baravi and stuff, and it makes sense why he does that, right? But it's also like, you know, he kept telling me all this stuff, but I kind of forgot about it halfway through the film because there's so much going on,
Mhm.
right? And that's why I'm just like, there's so much exposition. There's so much exposition dumps. Like the beginning of the film is the definition of an exposition dump, right? And yeah, I think that's why This is probably Gunn's weakest written film in terms of how he's established this universe. Like it's great that it's established universe, but it's also not a very well, not a really well paced and not a really well explained universe. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like you could have shown us a lot more. What do you guys think?
Do you want to go first, idea maker?
Um, I think I actually would want to hear your ideas first. To see what you'd say.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I I would say you're saying that it's the weakest written in terms of world building for of all of his other superhero movies. Is that what
I
you're?
think I feel like it's his weakest script,
Oh, weakest
just
script,
in
just in
in
general.
general. Yeah, just in general
Um,
for what I've seen at least.
I I would say that I think Guardians 2 is definitely weaker in my opinion. But and
Not the
that
Guardians 2 slander. Oh
yeah,
god.
that opening scene where what does he do? Like he steals something and that sets up the whole movie, and then I felt like that was ludicrous. I felt like that was ludicrous. I'm sorry. I know the
Okay.
hot takes hating on Guardian 2, but In my opinion, I think that's weaker. Suicide Squad might have been, I would say, might be weaker too. Um, I don't know. I think there's some really good stuff in here. I think it's just yeah, definitely not his weakest. I would say.
Okay. I can
In
respect
my
that.
opinion,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you're good.
yeah, it's just like I said with too much going on, too convoluted. There's some really great stuff in here.
Mhm.
You know, I think. Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah, no, you're good.
You're fine.
It's
I got.
probably really
I think
late
I
at night, man. I don't know what time is it for y'all right now.
What time is it for me?
Yeah.
It's 11:10.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
no.
No,
Yeah, we probably.
I'm chilling. This is great. I'm chilling. I'm 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 vibing talking about Superman. I'm just thinking like my actual thoughts, like because thinking it out loud. And I think I definitely need to see this movie again one more time because I've already seen it twice. Definitely gotta watch it one more time. But yeah, there's just a lot of great things. Too convoluted at times. Too much going on, and that Justice Gang should have done something more with them. And yeah. What about you? What about you, the idea maker?
I feel like honestly, I might be one of the few that might be saying that I think it was kind of even. I think that it was nice on getting to see that, you know, that there's others different heroes in an established universe and everything. Because I was seeing that there were some people that were kind of comparing this to like an episode of Justice League Unlimited, which
Yeah.
I actually thought about it again, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, it does feel like an episode of Justice League Unlimited, and I never really watched the show. And in that, I feel like you kind of already had to know the characters from the comics, and you just got thrusted into this whole universe. And I thought, okay, so that's one thing that made me feel like really enjoying this, because feels like a Saturday morning cartoon where, like, if you've never watched it before, you get thrusted into this environment. And it's just something different, and I like that feeling of it. It's more of like a nostalgic feeling. I think that this isn't weakly written in terms of, you know, establishing characters, because I think don't get me wrong, I honestly think that there could have been other ways of doing so, but I think that this was, in my opinion, one of the more stronger entries, if not like the strongest entry that James Gunn has written in his superhero resume. I feel like one of the more interesting things that I would have wished that they would have added a little bit more to, instead of the Justice Gang, was I wanted to see more Metamorpho, and he was not really talked about that much, because I really like the way that they use Metamorpho for the movie, and having for him to be integrated into the Justice Gang. I think that Anthony Kerrigan did a really great job at playing Metamorpho. He was fantastic, and what really got me to sympathize with him more was the part where he was having to basically terraform his hand into being kryptonite to keep Superman at a weak point, and that he saw when Lex was interrogating Superman by threatening to shoot one of the guys that was helping Superman to get up from the ground during a battle, and Lex was just playing like this psychotic version of Russian roulette and actually shoots him the second time.
Oh,
and
that was so tragic. That would hurt.
And yeah, and with Metamorpho like bawling his eyes out, saying like, that man did not deserve to die. I did not want to see that. I wasn't expecting on seeing that. And then him changing his mind about wanting to help Superman and trying to get out. I think that really adds more to like other different side characters that we kind of didn't expect to get like a larger part, because I was thinking that Metamorpho was going to be more of like a cameo, but then he had a significant role that I'm like, I didn't think it was that significant, but he had a significant role that earned him that spot in the Justice Gang. But other things that I would want to had done besides Metamorpho was, I would have wanted to see more of an established relationship between Lex and the Engineer and Ultraman. Now, I would have wanted to see a little bit more backstory with them, because I think that we could have seen a little bit more with those two. And it makes me wonder, because I know that Lex Luthor is kind of known to kind of, and maybe this is just because of my lack of experience from DC compared to Marvel, but I've seen him more as like he's like a lone wolf that he wants to take down Superman, but like on his own terms. So with seeing this whole thing with the Engineer and with Ultraman, I'm like, I kind of feel like maybe that's like an interesting way of like he's kind of like asking more for help to kind of get rid of Superman, or maybe it's kind of like an interesting development that they did on his character on his end, but I'm not entirely sure. But I really wish that we would have gotten to see a little bit more on the Engineer and Ultraman. But the reveal on Ultraman actually because I didn't know anything about Ultraman, but that was actually really well done how they revealed that it was a clone version of Superman. And I now want to see more of like what's going to happen. Like, is the black hole that was being generated from the whole rift in time and space, does that lead somewhere to the negative zone or the phantom zone or whatever, or does it lead to something else that maybe I'm not too familiar about in the comics? Or what happened to the Engineer? Like, what are we going to get? Are we going to see her return? Like, there's a lot of more questions I have more on them than I do about the Justice Gang, just because that we kind of have like a distinct direction with them.
Yeah. We should touch definitely upon that Ultraman twist, and then we should definitely touch upon the big reveal with Superman's parents. Those are definitely two things we definitely have to talk about before we end the stream here. We got more time and stuff to dive into some other things, but Ultraman.
I'll be right back, boys.
What was that?
I'm gonna be right back, boys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, no worries.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so with Ultraman, I am pretty certain that they're setting up Bizarro. But do you know who Bizarro is? Yeah. So I think they're setting up Bizarro with that because Lex said that Ultraman is dumb as rocks, and that's kind of what Bizarro is. It's kind of disappointing that they're using Ultraman as an early version of Bizarro, because in the comics, Ultraman is like another version of Superman gone evil from another Earth. So I guess that whole storyline's kind of wasted if they wanted to do that at some point. But say he's just a clone, which is Bizarro, and it looks like when he goes into the black hole, that he's going into Bizarro world, where he might turn into what we know as Bizarro. I feel
interesting. Okay. And like, what do you feel about like the Engineer and like her whereabouts? Like, do you think like the Engineer, like there's going to be more of her? Do you think that this is it for her, or what would you say on her behalf?
I have no idea. The last we see of her doesn't she get like not crushed by Superman, but he falls on top of her and then she gets knocked down, and that was it for her, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Maybe she'll work with Lex again, or maybe she'll do her own thing. She was kind of like, there was kind of like nothing to her a little bit. I mean, she was cool, but like her backstory, her motivations, it wasn't ever really clear. So it would be cool to see her again. She has some pretty cool powers. She has some pretty cool fight scenes, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen with all that, with Engineer and everything?
I think that, I don't know if like maybe that they'd have her for like a Legion of Doom team or something like that, or maybe like it'd be interesting to see what kind of like experiments they're going to have with her, because I mean, at the end of Superman, it's interesting that they have Lex Luthor being hauled off to Belle Reve. And so I'm wondering if that's going to set up like another Suicide Squad on some point, and that we'll probably get to see, because I was actually expecting, because once they, I don't remember if it was Rick Flag Sr. that said like, take him off to Belle Reve. I was actually kind of expecting for Amanda Waller to show up all of a sudden, because I mean, they're keeping Viola Davis as Amanda Waller in the DC universe. So I was kind of expecting to see her to some degree, or at least hear her voice or some audio recording for like a cameo. But like, it's interesting because I mean, going between her and you know, between Lex and the engineer, I mean, the engineer could possibly like have like maybe a revenge plot on Superman in some way of joining some sort of Legion of Doom. Maybe she's going to be like her own different type of person. I don't know much about her, if she's also in the comics or if they just made her for the movie. So that's one thing that I don't know about her that I kind of wish I knew a little bit about before going into here, to make like a good formulated opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting if they're doing another Suicide Squad thing with Lex, and I mean with her maybe, but I think we definitely need to hold off on that. I don't know about you, like we just had it, you know, and it was for the other DC universe. Yeah, I think I'm good on that. I hope Lex isn't going to be a part of that because that would be pretty weird, in my opinion. I don't know if you feel that way.
I think that it would be a little bit weird just because I feel like Lex is his own character and he has his own intelligence. He has his own way of doing things, and you know, like I've known in the comics and even in like Lego DC superheroes, like in the animated movies, that they've sometimes had Lex team up with like the Joker or any of these other Batman and Superman villains, even Sinestro and all these other different things.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to see what kind of Legion of Doom he cooks up, or what they could do is that they could have like a proposed idea to where it's like cut to he's at like Lex Luthor is at Belle Reve, but he ends up using some of the technology that maybe he snuck in with because he did say that he injected like this nanovirus type thing into the engineer to give her more of like these nanobites or nanobugs or whatever that would be able to let her terraform her body into whatever she wanted to, and that maybe he used it to his has still some to his advantage to be able to take over Belle Reve, and maybe that's the end of Amanda Waller, maybe that's the end of everybody else. And that could be like the setup to Legion of Doom if they were wanting to get into something like that in that direction. But
yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
I think that they could go in that direction because I feel like there's a lot of potential supervillains that maybe they would be able to get the chance on becoming part of Legion of Doom. I'm wondering if that means that Bane and Deathstroke movie for DC is going to be like, maybe that could be a part of the tie-in of some sort, because we don't really have like an established Batman or Wonder Woman. But I mean, with the way how Superman was, I think at this point anything is possible, and they could have some sort of an established story that will not drive away from the comics, but at least give a new perspective to DC and to what they want to build.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, what? Why is my computer's just glitching up? No.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I have that problem sometimes too when I'm doing videos and stuff like that. But you're good. You're totally fine.
Yeah, we were just everything was good, and all of a sudden my computer froze. Sorry, that distracted me. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I hope they I'm pretty sure James Gunn has some really good ideas with those characters. I can't wait to see it. I think Ultraman probably gonna turn Bizarro Engineer. We'll see what happens with that. Lex Luthor hopefully is not part of the Suicide Squad, and it should be interesting to see where Amanda Waller turns up next.
Yeah, because I remember that they said that they were going to make a series on her, but didn't it? But I don't know if they said that they stopped development on it or something like that, because they were wanting to focus on. I believe they wanted to focus on Superman and they wanted to focus on Supergirl, but I'm not entirely 100% sure though.
Yeah, it sounds like they couldn't really get something going with it, and it sounds like they don't want to be too spread out on some projects that are not going to be kind of random. Like they were talking about Booster Goals, kind of going to be put on hold. Some of the other, like the Authorities, kind of not going anywhere right now. They're just trying to focus mainly on like building up Superman, building up their Wonder Woman. building up, the Peacemaker because it's already established.
Mhm.
They're just trying to make sure that they got everything looking right. And it sounds like Amanda Waller kind of got pushed to the side with that, which I'm okay with for right now. Unless I want to make sure they definitely got something interesting with that. And she might show up in Peacemaker. You you said you watched Peacemaker or you didn't?
I watched Peacemaker season 1.
You did, yeah, because
Mhm.
she was like really involved with that, and her daughter
Mhm.
is in that show as a really prominent character.
Mhm.
So yeah, it should be interesting where we see where she goes next, her role and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they do something interesting with her.
I hope so, because I feel like, like honestly, I feel like if James Gunn ends up seeing this, I think that maybe he should consult us on some of this, because like I think this could work. Like I'm now thinking about it, and I think that one thing that they could do for Peacemaker season 2 is, I feel like, because they did say take Lex Luthor to Belle Reve, maybe they might have like a cameo from Lex Luthor, maybe, or because I know that James Gunn said that this season is going to end in a big way, to where this is going to be like the new DCU's focus. I'm wondering if that's going to mean that this is where they're going to try to make the Justice League happen. Maybe this is the start of like other superhero groups, or I have no idea, but it's definitely going to be interesting on seeing how Peacemaker from the DCEU is going to now be in this new DC universe, and it's going to be interesting on seeing how everything ties in with each other, considering that one is literally its own universe compared to the other, and how they're going to try to fill in that gap. I have no idea. It makes me question on, whoa, that happened. Um, I wonder what. Okay.
Hey, I'm back. All right,
Okay.
I just yeah yeah. I was hearing what you were saying. I had my I had the stream on my phone. So
Oh, okay. I was like, what happened? I thought like I
sorry.
was
Yeah,
like,
no technical. Yeah, it was just like acting up. I think we've been streaming so long to the point where it's acting a little strange, but we're good. Yeah, you could continue what you were saying.
okay. Like I think what I was trying to say was like, it's gonna be interesting seeing like how this whole connection is gonna work. Like, are they gonna take the Flash and take that into consideration, like the events from it, and then make it be like, oh, the Flashpoint happened and now it's its own separate thing, or it's like a rebooted version of the DC universe, or I have no idea. But I mean, who knows? It's definitely a great start so far. Um, I can't really think of anything else on that end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say with the Flash, it looks like it's not gonna have anything to do with an DC universe. The only thing that seems like they want to connect is anything James Gunn was involved with, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, I wanted to touch. I want to hear Real Hooper Knowledge's thoughts, but is he back?
Oh, I'm alive. Thank God.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I want to hear your thoughts about Ultraman, the engineer, and all that before we move on to the big twist that happened in the movie that we should probably talk about.
Oh yeah. I thought they're all right. I don't know what it was, but I'm looking at Ultraman. I'm like, huh, Ultraman looks kind of funny. I mean, I get why, but I mean, wait, I already get to the twist about like who Ultraman is, or are we talking about the other twist?
The parents,
Oh,
Superman,
okay, yeah, okay. So we can talk about Ultraman. I
they
can
did
go
the
ahead.
invincible thing and
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. What's it called? So for Ultraman, I don't know, David looked cool. I thought he looked pretty cool. I thought the wig was kind of much though. Like it looked like obviously a wig. Like I don't know why it just looks so raggedy. I'm like, give Superman or give Ultraman his luscious mullet. Give him that Superman mullet. I need that. So I think that was one thing. But other than that, I thought the engineer was pretty cool. Her power set's pretty awesome. But I can't, because one of my friends on Discord was like mentioning it to me, but he was like, that the actress who played engineer, like all respect to her, but she cannot act. I'm like, oh crap. And I watched I watched the movie for a second time, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I kind of see that. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, but also like, damn, like she's on the same level as like Gal Gadot level. I'm like, oh my goodness,
Ooh.
that's like,
Ooh.
ooh, that's like a brutal like threat to like any
Huh.
actress's career. Like, can you imagine saying you got compared to Gal Gadot? Oof,
That's really brutal.
Yeah.
that's brutal. I'm like, oh, I know, I can't unhear it now. I'm like, oh my goodness. I might not be tripping. He might not be tripping after all. But yeah, other than that though, I thought they're pretty solid. They bantered pretty well with Lex. Lex was the main guy who held them together. You know, I wish we could get more. Like, that's the thing. I wish we got more fleshing out for both of them. Because other than that, we just got throwaway lines like, oh yeah, we cloned Lex. We cloned you, and that's how we got into the Fortress of Solitude, which is cool, right? But I wish we got like some like little, not little, like little flashbacks, like, oh, this is what I did something so evil yet so like meticulous, right? And I wish that was more of a thing with this. It's the running theme for my flaws with this film is telling, not showing, and that's essentially that's what it was, really. But yeah, we could talk about that, the parent twist, which I thought was a lot more compelling to me, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty cool with the switch up. It's something really controversial going on with the movie right now. Like, Superman fans are pretty divided on it. Kind of ruins the movie for some fans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it, I guess, because it's something new and different, and anything that's new and different that changes up the formula is definitely going to cause a little something. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Did it work? Do you think it's a disrespect to Jor-El I forget his mom's name?
It's not Martha.
No,
His mom's name.
yeah, Jor-El and his mom El.
Mom L.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
yeah. They say people are saying like it's disrespect to them, but they're not really characters in the comics. So why does it even matter? But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
I think like for the idea maker, like me and him, we actually watched a lot of My Adventures with Superman, and that's what I think that's what's really close to that twist with My Adventures with Superman. With this is pretty similar, you know. I feel like the running theme of the alien planets actually want to conquer the place instead of actually save it. It's a very I don't know. I feel like now more than ever, it's more like it's kind of been a running trope for the alien species. I don't know what it is. Like, back in the day, we had Omni-Man and the Viltrumites, right? Now we have. Oh yeah. Well, spoilers for those guys who haven't watched Invincible, but you know,
Yeah,
and then we got this, and you know, I think I thought it was compelling at first, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I wish we got more exploration on Krypton, and I hope that's what Supergirl does. We explore the Krypton's politics, and explore their worldviews and why they do the things they do, right? I think that's what's necessary in order to justify having this twist. You know, I think that's what there's so much in this film that they have to tackle. That's why some stuff gets really like surface level exploration. You know, I think that's why, you know, that's the biggest flaw of this film. But other than that, I think the twist is pretty interesting. It gives something really intriguing, and I think it would have been more impactful if we got more time with Martha and oh frick, I can't remember his father's name. Oh, Jonathan. There you go. It's Jonathan. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what it's so intriguing. Like, it'd be interesting to hear like if Superman was actually more interested in his Kryptonian genetics, that he almost forgot about his human parents. I think that would have been that'd be really cool to explore, like whether or not if Superman actually wanted to jump ship, like, oh yeah, actually, you know, I actually prefer my human parents. You know, I understand they actually align more with my beliefs, and I think that would have been a lot stronger of a twist. You know, it reinforces Superman's character, and it fleshes out why he does the things he does, not out of his home planet, not because of what his home people do, but it's because of what he does every little day. It's not because of his origins, not because of where he's from, because he does this and he makes his conscious choice every day for the rest of his life, because doing good isn't a habit that you can just put on the back burner, but it's a living and breathing choice that you make every day. And I think that's what they kind of explored in the film, and I think they kind of explore that better, but I liked how they explored that, and I think that's what the twist kind of brought to me. It's a representation of your past doesn't define who you are. Your parents don't define who you are, and it's really what choice you make now. And I think that's a pretty beautiful message. I think. What do you guys think?
I think it was definitely interesting because I didn't think about the whole correlation with how My Adventures of Superman did it. And I started thinking about that now, and I was trying to find more like a solid answer to give, because I remember sitting in the theater and I was shocked. I'm like, wait, what? But then it also dawned on me that it does make sense to where, like, I think that the thing is that from the way how the line was delivered, and at first I thought, okay, maybe it's just like a misinterpretation. And then when he mentioned about having a harem and starting all that, and I thought, oh, okay, yep, we're actually we're that was straight to the point. But I think it's interesting, like you both mentioned, like how it's weird how like they still write aliens a lot of the times to be where it's like you conquer Earth, you repopulate, and you try to restart it all over again. I mean, I think that there could be other ways of having to like restart life without having to be interfering of some sort with human civilization, and like to an extent. I would say like it's more what they should have done was something of like, like you teach, like they could have said, while you're here on Earth, when the time is right, you teach these individuals on planet Earth about Kryptonian cultures, Kryptonian customs, and all these other different things. We'll have a database that's provided for you in here that's indestructible, so that way they'd be able to learn, or something like that. And yeah, that could also be a bad thing for those who are wanting to use these things for evil instead of for good. It could have been a little bit more of a different thing, and that it could have probably brought some people together. But it was a weird choice that I was very confused with. And I feel like, because Superman to me does not seem like a type of a person that will go into something like that. I mean, like, even he was surprised, and he was like, this has got to be fake. This has got to be fake, because he's like the living embodiment of the good virtues of what humanity is supposed to be. Like, biblically wise, he is, what biblically what God says for us to do, as people of children of God, or even as individuals who want to be able to bring goodness to the world and to others. And he's not used to stuff like that, so that really caught me off guard. But that's only one thing that I could say that it's like I kind of had a gripe with, that they could have done it a little bit differently. They could have just presented it like a little mini database to show what things were like on Krypton, to be able to kind of like find this compromise between humans and Kryptonians on what can both be able to do to bring some sort of coexistence with each other. Kind of like how in X-Men comics, some people try to find this coexistence between humans and mutants, like sort of that type of a deal.
I get that correlation. What do you think, 1000?
Yeah, 100%. I see that correlation too. It's yeah. What about you, Real Hooper?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like it's just great to see, different themes being explored with these different characters, and really exploring like the different nuances of what they represent, right? And I think, with the immigrant stuff, recent news and all that, right? And I don't like when people say like that's woke. Like, I don't think it's woke to say to be nice to immigrants. It's to be nice to people. I think that's not, what is that? If that's woke, then what have we been doing for the past our whole lives, man? I mean, come on. I think that's what's, it's so sad these days, where people have to politicize or have to demonize kindness in a way where it just feels unnecessary. Like, for we're here on this earth for such a short amount of time in a grand scheme of things, and why should we spend it just demonizing other people? I never understood that. I think that's just a nonsensical thing to do. And yeah, I think people, and I think that just brings on to another conversation about demonizing people who don't like this film, because there's people who don't like this film, and that's okay. I mean, if you don't like the film, I get you. You don't have to like it, right? And I think that's what, and that's also a thing where I've been seeing like people always trash on Snyder people and Snyder fans about, oh yeah, if you don't like this film, you're just a dumb Snyder fan. And I mean, some of them are just like straight up haters, but other people have serious gripes with the film, and that's okay. You don't have to like it,
Right.
And I think that's the beauty of this type of stuff, right? It's not going to be for everyone, but if you like it and you like it a lot, you can preach it to crowds. And if you don't like it, you could also preach it to crowds. I feel like that's the beauty of this entire thing, and yeah, it's just the one step thing at a time. And honestly, I think it's just beautiful to have this conversation, today. And I get like, what's it? We probably should be ending soon, because like Boom 1000, I feel you, man. It's probably like it's getting real late for y'all over there.
Oh no, I'm chilling. I'm
Yeah.
doing good. Yeah,
No.
we can we're probably gonna wrap up soon, but
Yeah.
you guys said a lot of really good points. I really appreciate you guys putting your insight on the movie and the world. We live in some really interesting times right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. And I think my last point that I love to end on, and I'd love to hear your perspectives, is what do y'all think is the best superhero film of this year? And do you guys think that Fantastic Four will top that film? Because Fantastic Four is coming up soon, so what are we thinking?
First idea maker.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, I think it's a gradual build. I said this before, and I said this to ReelHooperKnowledge in one of the conversations that I had, and I feel like it's interesting how even for like the summer, and I'll even include Jurassic World on this whole thing, because like I mentioned before that I feel like this kind of reflects on what's going on between human characteristics and human interaction these days. And what I mean is like, like with Jurassic World, it was like, human beings, they kind of like destroyed themselves because that they were trying to play God by creating these dinosaurs and everything. But then Superman is that movie of it's trying to rebuild human sincerity, human connectivity, and it's trying to rebuild humans trust between each other, and that central message of being generous to others. While Fantastic Four is going to jump more on that point to that family is the most important central thing in a lot of people's lives, and family doesn't have to be just blood related. I mean, Fantastic Four is a great example of that. They're a family where it's husband, wife, brother, and best friend, and then now having a son and a daughter and a robot. I mean, that's like a family that everybody wants to have, where it's like everybody has their own personal points of views, and they want to be able to get to feel like it's more of like this not like this, I'm not saying this natural characteristic, this natural chemistry between each other. And that's the main center of it all, and that we see this sort of loop going every time. So honestly, I feel like, because like with Captain America, it was a movie that it reflected what's going on now. Like it was reflecting on, this politically based climate where it gets extremely toxic, and there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of things that happen to where people are very conflicted with each other. And it's disheartening because that we don't really see things on the same level anymore, and people just argue about it for what legitimate reason. But then leading to Thunderbolts, it was a conversation about you're not okay sometimes, and it's okay to not be okay, and you just have to accept the fact that if you need help, you need help. And that's like that sense of leading to Superman, which is the whole idea of needing to trust people, needing to bring people together, and just leading into this thing. So I think that Fantastic Four is going to be on the same level as Superman. I'm not going to give one more of like a better thing than the other, because each of these movies so far, despite like Captain America and Thunderbolts doing an underwhelming performance over at the box office in a disheartening manner, I really feel like each of these has a specific message that Marvel and DC wants to have for people. So I think it's a tough thing to choose between which one's going to be better than the other.
Okay, I feel that. What do you think? What do you think, Film 1000?
So starting with like, what do I think is good so far? What's my favorite superhero movie? That's what you first said, right?
Yeah.
Favorite superhero movie, hands down, still Thunderbolts. I gave that like a 9 out of 10. Superman, 8.6 out of 10. I really love Thunderbolts in so many ways.
Yeah.
And what do I think of Fantastic Four? Was that your other question as well?
Yeah. Do you think Fantastic Four will top Thunderbolts or top Superman?
I think it's gonna be kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie. no, I don't know. I mean, everything I see is just. I hope it's good. Like I said, I don't root for things. I don't root for things to be bad or fail.
Yeah.
I want good. I want good shit. You know.
Yeah.
And just all the vibes I'm getting, even the merchandise looks mid. I'm just like.
Oh yes, I forget you work. You're the one that works at the theater. Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. I hope it's good. Thunderbolts proved me wrong big time, so maybe Fantastic Four will really prove me wrong too. Maybe it ends up being one of the best superhero movies ever made, and
Yeah,
and awe and wow, wonder and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just hoping for the best for everything. What about
definitely.
you? Did you say what your favorite was, Real Hooper?
Okay, yeah, I haven't said my favorite. My favorite for this year is probably Thunderbolts. Yeah, I'll still say Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And do I think Fantastic Four will top that? With confidence, maybe. And that's not even confident. Maybe it's just like, oh, sure, I guess. I mean, we'll see. If I were to bet money on it, right? If I were to bet money on me loving Fantastic Four more than Thunderbolts, I wouldn't bet that much money, you know? Because I don't know. I feel like looking at Thunderbolts now, I'm like, huh, what a really fresh breath of air. You know, it's just, I really enjoyed my time rewatching it. I rewatched reactions to it. That's when you know you love a movie. If you watch reactions to a movie, you know, like it seems so nonsensical to just like, oh my gosh, I'm rewatching a movie based off what else is watching the movie, you know? Like, I rewatched with the Real Rejects and Holden Hardman. You guys heard of those guys?
Yeah, Real Rejects. And I grew up watching them. I watched them quite a bit as a kid.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Wow, I can't believe I'm actually saying that out loud. They've been around that long. I was like watching them at times in middle school.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Same here.
We're getting up there in age, man.
Yeah.
I saw a post that said, "Oh, look at me in Endgame when I was 11 years old. Now look at me at Thunderbolts. I'm 17." I'm like, holy fuck! No! Oh my god, we're old.
It's crazy. Time goes by way too fast.
It's crazy.
I'm like, I think that's why it's so bittersweet. But I think that's why Thunderbolts really works for me, because it brings you back to what made the superhero movie special is balancing the drama and the levity. You know, it's not comedy; it's just full levity, and I think that's what's really well done, especially the mental health aspect, which really hit for me differently. Like we talked about this, me and Film 1000 made a whole video on Thunderbolts, and I think that's it's so beautiful. I think it's a beautiful film, and I wish it got more love. Frankly, I think it undeservingly flopped. I think that's what I'll say. It undeservingly flopped, and yeah, I think we'll see what happens with Fantastic Four. I hope it's great, like you said. Like, I feel like it has potential to be fantastic. Pause. You know, but but it's just, I love the cast. The cast looks pretty cool, but you know how like you see something and you're like, yeah, it looks good, but I don't think it'll like catch me, you know? like I felt the same way with Thunderbolts with its marketing, and I thought it'd be like, it look cool, but it doesn't look like it will catch me forever. I feel the same way for Fantastic Four, but I also have a belief that Fantastic Four will be better than Superman, and I don't know. I'm willing to see how my money bets on that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I hope it's great. If it's not, then well, that means I hope it's better than the other two Fantastic Four movies. If it's not better than the other two, that means oh my goodness, we're so cooked.
I'm 90% sure it's going to be better than at least Fan Stick and Rise of
Oh,
Silver.
yeah.
I think it's going to be at least better than that. I'll be really surprised if it's somehow worse than that. Then Marvel's cooked. We're done.
Oh,
If it's worse
no,
than Fan Stick, oh my god.
that's a
I
4-hour
mean,
live stream right there. 4
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like a fair thing to say that I do actually love Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer just because that was my first superhero movie I ever watched in the theater. So I will say on the safe side that I'm hoping that the new one will be definitely better than it. But I mean, personally, that's kind of like my biased opinion that it was better because just it was a magical experience of me and my family watching it when I was 7 years old and. Growing up in a household where I was more of with overprotective family, so I mean, just like a little thing, just because every time I hear about it, I always have a soft spot for it.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I grew up watching those movies too. Even though I'm not really, I always thought the first one was okay. First Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, just I don't know. Just never really clicked with me, even as a kid. But the original one did. Did you watch it, Real Hooper?
I remember seeing bits of it. I remember seeing Silver Surfer aura farming. I'm like, huh, how inspirational. I'm like, that's cool. And I mean, like, we'll see how that works out. And yeah, we have a comment, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we got a comment from Nico Bellic from GTA 4. Thank you for commenting.
What was that accent?
That's the Nico Bellic accent.
Is
it GTA?
What's that?
From GTA?
Yeah. Did you guys ever play GTA 4?
No.
I only played 5.
What's that?
I only played 5. Was that the latest
really?
one?
Oh yeah, Nico Bellic got like that. Look up Nico Bellic. You'll see. It'll make sense. I'm really tired, and also
You're good.
I try to imitate his accent, but yeah, Nico Bellic from GTA 4 says there's a big plot hole in Superman. Why couldn't Superman with his X-ray vision see Ultraman's face? He should have known that Ultraman is his clone. That's a good point. Did his mask have lead? I don't think it did have lead.
They never mentioned it.
No.
Yeah, that's maybe he just never thought to do it.
Sometimes I think Superman isn't like I don't know. Sometimes I think Superman has to consciously activate some of these powers because if he doesn't consciously do it, that means he forgets. Like he could fly, right? But he consciously needs to know when he should fly and when he shouldn't. Because if he flies through a house, then that's not good, right? He has to consciously activate some of these things. It's not like a spider sense where Spider-Man's sense is like it's involuntary because it's out of reflex, right? Like I don't think his X-ray vision is out of reflex. He just doesn't think of it, He's like, oh, that guy, there you go. So
yeah, 100%. Appreciate the comment, Nico Bellic. You do raise an interesting point.
Yeah.
Wait, why is my? Sorry, just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I honestly thought my comment was just basically just like trying to cope with the fact that maybe James Gunn maybe missed the mark on that one. I don't know.
What did you think about that, the idea maker? Sorry, my computer was on the fritz.
No, you're good. I think that actually is an interesting point that I didn't even think about. That is actually a very good comment, Nico. I feel like I don't know. I think that maybe because I don't remember if I don't think that they ever mentioned that Superman ended up knowing that Ultraman was like the Bavarian Hammer or whatever he was called. I don't think that they ever said that Superman ever knew about him being that. So that's another thing. Because I was gonna say that maybe it just never really came to his thoughts because maybe because of the good nature that Superman has. I don't think that he's like one of those type of people that will just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna use my powers to like figure out who it is. Because I mean, he's been living on Earth for practically all of his life, and it's at the point where he just is more used to like human customs. That I think that maybe that's why he didn't do so.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Really good point, the idea maker. Yeah, I don't. I can see why it could be a plot hole. But I think there's reasons for why he might have not just looked under his mask. There wasn't. Oh, oh.
What
Nico,
happened?
Bellica, another comment.
Oh,
All right, it says
Oh,
in
he dropped in
comics,
2.
Superman in his first meeting knows Batman is Bruce. Bruce is Wayne. In comics, Superman in his first meeting knows Batman. Bruce. Superman knows. Yeah, I think he's saying that Superman knows that he's Batman. And I remember in the animated series too. I'm pretty sure this happened in the animated series. He uses his X-ray vision to see Batman's identity. But I feel like with this though, it's like I don't think he needs or has any idea to want to do that. Because it's not like it's supposed to be some sort of secret. I don't know. It can I can see why it's a plot hole.
Yeah.
Especially when he has powers like him. Because unless they explain that he had lead in his mask, which Superman can't see through lead.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm
stumped on that.
It's late at night, man. Come on, what do you want from us? We're not the what's the rock stars? Wait, what are they called? Who are the guys who break down movies again?
Yeah, new rock stars.
The new rock stars. Yeah, we're not the new rock stars, guys. You don't get paid enough for this.
I really appreciate your comment, Nico, and also I love the profile. Love the character names. Nico Bellic is one of the best GTA characters. Yeah, so that's about all. Do you guys have any final thoughts on Superman, DC, or anything you guys want to touch upon?
Let me see. Oh, okay. I think one little statement I would like to make is like my favorite Superman still, even after David Corn splits, is probably it's still gonna be Tyler Hoechlin Superman. I feel like I want to pre-chest at the stars, and I think Tyler Hoechlin Superman is still my favorite. And then probably David second, Christopher Reeves probably third or fourth, and then we got Henry Cavill. I think that's how my order looks. What do y'all look like?
That's a pretty cool list.
I think for me, it's definitely going to be Christopher Reeve at number 1. And then for me, it's definitely going to be David Cornsweet at number 2. Tyler Hoechlin, I haven't seen Superman and Lois, so I from clips that I've seen on YouTube Shorts, I honestly do find him to be a really good Superman. So I will put him at 3, just for the impression that I got from him on YouTube Shorts. Henry Cavill to me is more at like a 4. I mean, he does good as playing Clark Kent, but and Superman, but it's just I wish that they would have had more of a differentiation between them, just because I love when like Christopher Reeve and David, they do like the whole thing of where you kind of have like Clark is as one person and Superman is a different person. Oh, and we got another comment from Nico.
Yeah. Nico said, "Oh, that's a really great list, by the way."
Thank you.
The idea maker.
Thank you.
I asked because he first time encountered a being who can match him physically in 3 years. So wouldn't he be curious about him? Yeah, that's a really good point. You're making some really good points here, Nico. I mean, it does. Was it shown that he has X-ray vision? Does this version of Superman even have that ability? Because he is a bit of a deep-powered version of the character.
I think he did. I think they did show him using the X-ray vision at one point. I do remember. Oh, they did, because it was during the kaiju battle when.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when we first got introduced to the Justice Gang.
But can he see like someone's face under a mask? Do you think?
That is a good question. He should be able to.
Yeah, it's a good question. That's something that James Gunn definitely needs to answer on Twitter, because he answers a lot.
Ask him on Twitter.
Yeah, Nico Bell, tweet James Gunn, please. We need to know the answer to this because this is a bit of a pothole. This is a bit of a conundrum here.
That's definitely a good one.
Yeah,
Did you
good point.
did you finish your list idea maker for your favorite Superman? You had Christopher Reeve first, and then Corn Sweat.
And then Tyler, and then Henry Cavill, and then I'll probably put Brandon Routh's version at number 5, probably.
Cool.
Because I honestly did forget about him until we started talking about it.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious that since we watch My Adventures of Superman, where would you rank Jack Quaid's Superman? Because people always forget Jack Quaid's actually Superman.
Yeah. I would actually rank him at number 3. I'm not gonna lie. Like if we were also including Jack Quaid in this, I would put him at number 3. I honestly really that's to be honest, Jack Quaid's version of Superman was the real reason that I got back into DC again. So like I was at a point where I was like, I was casually into DC because of like Birds of Prey, the Suicide Squad, and Blue Beetle, and all these other different ones. And I wasn't like much of like a huge DC fan. I was more hardcore Marvel. But then Jack Quaid comes in with My Adventures of Superman, and there was just this something about Jack that he even though that it sounds exactly the same when he plays and voices Clark Kent and Superman. There's just something about him that it's like this little change in the tone of his voice that makes him so different as Clark Kent and Kal-El. And I like this little like subtle change that he makes. I don't know what it is, but it's just his personality and his voice matches the animation to what Clark looks like in My Adventures of Superman, which is what makes me really love his version at number 3, and then David at 2, and then Christopher at number 1.
Okay, yeah, I feel
Really
that.
cool
What about you? What about you, Phil 1000?
My favorite Superman?
Oh yeah, we know Tom Welling's number 1 there. No, we know that one.
Yeah, I'm a big Smallville guy. Yeah, so Welling is one. Actually, I'm about to release a video in the next few days of my favorite Superman. I'll say like my 3 or 5 favorite now. Yeah, Welling's 1. 2 is Corn Sweat. I really Corn Sweat. Very human, very inspired by other versions of Superman, even including Smallville's version. There's a lot of aspects of that version in here, and just like the DCAU version of Superman is really seen in his performance, which I love. And he does a bit of something on his own. 3 is I'm blanking on his name right now. Tim Daly from the DCAU Superman.
Oh yeah.
And then George Newbern from the Justice League shows, and then 5th, I believe I got Tyler Hoechlin. He's my 5th favorite.
Okay, I can respect that. Yeah, pretty good list.
Pretty good.
Top. I know. I gotta get more experience in that Superman lore, man. Like I just watched the old one, the 1978 version. I think I watched the director's cut because no way the OG version was 3 hours long.
Holy. Oh, is it?
Well, the director's cut, I am assuming.
About the Donner cut of
for the first one. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this thing is so long. Sometimes they're just sitting there. Come on, move. Move. Yeah. I'm like, why'd I watch? I think that really tainted my experience with it. I'm like, this movie is so slow, but I think I blame myself because I think I picked the director's cut, not the actual cut. So bad. Oh well.
I think I might actually do a reaction to the director's cut because I've only seen the original cut of it. I don't know. I think it was like about maybe a month or 2 months before my grandmother passed away, and that was her favorite Superman movie. So I definitely want to do the director's cut now and just sit through the 3 hours.
Oh, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna watch them sitting, and then it's like, oh wow,
that's
we're both sitting.
That's fine.
Perfection.
All
right. Yes, sir. This is awesome, man. This is great.
Yeah, really great list, guys. Great input with everything Superman, just everything in general. You guys have really a lot to say. Informed me on a lot of different things, and it was great hearing you guys' insights. Do you guys want to have anything else to say about Superman, or anything else you guys want to touch upon before we wrap up?
No, I think we got everything off our chest. You know, we kind of vented about everything.
Yeah.
Nico Bellic really vented about
Nico,
Ultraman.
appreciate your comment, and Ezra Carr, appreciate your guys' comments. You guys really appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you guys for commenting on this wonderful stream.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I think if there is anything I would say, I just want to say, like, I just want to say directly to James Gunn that, like, thank you for bringing this awesome version of Superman that, you know, we kind of feel like that same feeling of, like, other different versions of Superman from the past, like from Christopher Reeve to the animated versions. And we just see this culmination of all these versions of Superman, and that it's just been an incredible journey. And honestly, we cannot wait to see what you and Peter Safran have next for DC Studios and for the DC Universe, and what we're going to see with your movies and your shows that you guys are proposing, and just getting to see how this new version of the Justice League is going to be formed. And we'll be there to cover it all. And it's been such a great pleasure, honestly, being here on my first live stream of multiple people. So I want to definitely thank Film 1000 for giving me the chance on being able to be on here, and also thanks to Real Hooper Knowledge for the invitation on being on here, and getting to take the time to getting to talk about Superman and talking everything DC with you guys. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to come on today. And same thing with you, Real Hooper. It's great having you on again, and it was really cool just having 3 people like at once, all like sharing our insights. Definitely a pretty cool collaborating experience.
Yeah, definitely. This is an absolute blessing on all levels, man. This is really cool, a lot of fun. We would love to have you on. We're trying to figure out our own podcast thing. It's just, I'm looking at I was editing the footage like yesterday. I'm like, oh my goodness, my mic is terrible. But you know, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. And honestly, we'd love to have you on, man. We'd love to figure out some guests, and we'd love to have you on for one of the podcasts, man. It'd be an absolute just be really great to have guests on, and you being one of the first, that'd be awesome, man.
Having me, you guys are doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I would love to come on. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll be down to talk about anything.
Sure. That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're game. We just gotta figure out time and all that. Yeah, we'll be good.
100%. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up. It's 12 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh no, buddy, you gotta get some sleep, man.
Yeah, I gotta get up at 9 o'clock tomorrow, or 8 o'clock technically for work. So it's gonna be fun, but it was worth it. It was worth talking about Superman, getting all that off our chest for 2.5 hours. Wow, we went longer than the actual Superman movie. Yeah, appreciate anybody who checked out the video, all the comments. Nico, Ezra, thank you guys so much for commenting, liking. We got 4 likes on. Awesome. It peaked at 5 or 6 people. It peaked at 6 people watching at one point, which is so cool, so incredible. So grateful for you guys.
Right.
And thank you, Idea Maker and Real Hooper Knowledge, for coming on the stream again. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.